Be closely watching what he has to say. As for investors, really all of their choices are hinging on one major question, and that's whether this standoff does escalate or whether we are able to de-escalate it. We do know that the Fed did give an update about rate cuts just a few days ago, saying that it is highly unlikely we are going to have another one this year. Back to you.
Christina, I don't know about you, but I am completely exhausted. Not because I'm not getting any sleep, but because every other day the market is going up and down. A lot of people don't know where we are with regard to this war. What are traders thinking about, especially given the deadline that President Trump gave Iran tomorrow?
I mean, for all of you at home, just my advice would be don't look at your portfolio. Just keep that tucked away, wait a few more weeks. But traders on the floor that I've spoken with, kind of the same sentiment there. They knew at the beginning of this war, the president did say it could last 4 to 6 weeks. We're still roughly within that original time frame, so they're not that concerned. If this, say, extends another month or several months, that's when things are going to get a little bit dicier, when we're going to see a little bit more concern from traders on the floor. But for now, it's kind of just the thing that we've the same sentiment we've had throughout most of the president's decisions. Think back to tariffs, a lot of volatility, expect volatility as there's announcements, as the president speaks to the public, and then expect things to get a little bit more smooth once things end and once this conflict ends.
I can't wait to talk to you on Wednesday. Why? Because that's the first day after the 8 p.m. Eastern Time deadline on Tuesday. Thanks so much, Christina.
Yeah. Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.
Before we go, we want to mention this.
Good morning. Welcome to Today on this Monday morning. We are so glad you started your week with us, and it is good to be home.
Yes, it is good to have you back at home.
Well, here we go. Ready or not, let's do the news.
Yes, so good to have you back.
Savannah Guthrie, host of NBC's Today Show, returning to the Today Show this morning for the first time in more than 2 months after her mother, Nancy Guthrie, disappeared from her home in New Mexico the beginning of February. This is great news in terms of Savannah coming home. She's called the Today Show her family, and here she was wearing, we just showed her wearing yellow, a sign of hope for her mother's return, but life goes on, and she is a part of the Today Show, a major fixture there. And she said, if I feel sad, I will be open with you and authentic about it. If I'm happy, I'll be true about that as well. But this is her life and her job, so she is returning there.
Americans go through so much in their personal lives, and to see Savannah actually return to the Today Show, it gives the average American hope.
Yeah.
Through whatever struggles and challenges they're experiencing in life, there is hope. Even though the case is not closed.
No.
Her mother has not been found. She returned to work, and as you just mentioned, she's going to be honest with the American people to let people know what she's feeling. But the strength that she is displaying at such a pivotal time gives hope to so many around the country.
It really is an incredible message. And to your point, John, she has gone through a living hell. I'm going to use that term here. And it's just for her to go back to work, it does show such strength of character, and just the fact that she's been supported also by prayer and by people within her community.
Bringing clarity to cultural confusion. Stand in the Gap, Wednesdays and Thursdays on theDove TV. Encouraging and informative. Good morning. You're tuned to theDove. Encouraging and informative. Helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on theDove.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on theDove. Happy Monday. Hope all your eggs were hard-boiled.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, good morning to you. Trust your Easter was a delightful one. Beautiful weather. Turned out to be just a gorgeous day yesterday. Beautiful. And continuing on for a couple of days before we see a change.
Yeah.
Jerry's here. That's all that counts.
Yeah, you bet. Good morning.
And, we got him. Well,
yeah, careful.
He doesn't have a seatbelt on, but we'll get it snapped. We'll get it clicked here.
That's what I need.
Yeah, what do they say, click it or ticket?
Yeah, click it or ticket.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Monday. A lot in the news. Quite the rescue over the weekend. We had some highlights on that. I guess it was just an all-around, look over here. Don't look over here, but look over here.
Yes.
Went over there and got him.
Somebody, I think, with a keen insight into this told me, he says, watch for the movie.
Yeah.
This is going to be turned into a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was quite the operation, so
Yeah.
we'll talk about that.
All right.
Anyway, good morning to you. A lot going on. What do you got?
Well, it is National Student Athlete Day, especially this time of year where we're looking at the college basketball finals. The NCAA was on the women's division was sealed last night. UCLA become the first-time national champions.
Well,
so
congratulations.
yes, National Student Athlete Day today, and of course we encourage on this day that those with reason and those in power realize that boys compete against boys and girls compete against
Isn't that
girls.
amazing how this is starting to finally smooth out?
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. You know?
Yeah, but you know there are still those dissenting voices, and I look at Megan Rapinoe. She's the superstar female soccer player, and she still, for some reason, doesn't get it. I think she's gay. She's so stuck in her ideology and what their whole movement. I don't think they see clearly. They don't understand basic fairness.
Well, I think we're seeing a turn in this. The Olympic Committee.
Yeah.
And some of the universities,
Right.
And women are just saying, why compete?
Yep.
Why should I put my neck out there and lose my scholarships and everything?
That's the key, Perry, and our hats off to those who have stood up for what's right and suffered, who have withdrawn from competitions, who have lost their places on the podium, and they're speaking up. You're right, and that is a good thing.
Remember who gave us this nonsense. Just remember who gave us this nonsense.
Yeah, and remind us.
Yeah.
Who did it?
The left.
Yes, yes. Who's the only one? And you know what? It's interesting. I had to bite my tongue. When
you bite your tongue?
I did, and I bit my tongue. And of course,
I don't believe that for a moment. You're going to have to go to confession after the show this morning for lying. But go ahead.
Is there a booth around here?
I'll get you one.
Okay.
We'll just sit in a couple of chairs over here.
All right. Okay. Now, I don't know if anybody else had to deal with this, but of course, at Christmas time, we have mixed company. You have your family in, and you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family.
Yeah, pick your nose.
Yeah, that's right. I was wondering if you'd bring that up. But anyway, so you're going to have these mixed groups, and you're going to have to be careful with your conversations. And you might overhear some conversations that you want to weigh in on, and sometimes you have to just pause. And I did, because I overheard a conversation where somebody who I know, it's one of the people in our group, our extended family, that we've decided you have to be careful with. So we don't talk about certain things.
Okay.
So I'm overhearing this conversation about, do you guys have to deal with the trans situation down here much? They're not from around here. Do you have to deal with it? I was like, no. The person that was talking to, and then this person said, what's wrong with politicians that they want to do this anyway? And I wanted to turn around and scream. It's not politicians, it's Democrat politicians, the people you're voting for.
Wow.
But it's interesting because I think sometimes people who have the right idea on this, what's fair with student athletes, don't get it when they don't connect the dots that it's the people they're putting into office that are doing these things.
No, it's look, we live in a soundbite world.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Maybe I should have said something that I wouldn't have heard.
Okay. Calm down.
Okay.
Well, you got anything to eat in there? Hurry, quick, go to the food. What do you got in there?
I'm going to get something here for you to start on.
All
It's
right.
National Employee Benefits Day. And the silence.
Go on, go to the next one.
It's also National Tartan Day. Honors the Scottish heritage flowing through the United States and the estimated 20 to 25 million Americans who claim Scottish descent.
Oh.
How about that?
All right.
All right, so our hats off to you. National Carbonara Day, a delicious pasta dish made up of a creamy sauce and bits of pancetta. So, now in
What do
this...
they call that?
It's called carbonara. It's a lovely dish, and they use pancetta. And some people use actual bacon, and I guess that's a real no-no. And I thought, I've never heard anybody say it's a no-no to use bacon in anything.
Right.
Seriously. Oh my gosh. Okay, National Caramel Popcorn Day.
Oh.
Yeah, and of course, when you think of caramel popcorn, we can't help but think about Cracker Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're probably the #1 of our, caramel corns, and they gained popularity on the stage at the 1893 World's Fair. And check this out. Other foods to grab public's attention at similar expositions include cotton candy and the ice cream cone. Oh, yeah. Also, National, and we're going to end with this, and I know you'll love it, National Fresh Tomato Day, honoring the versatile flavor and health benefits of fresh, uncooked tomatoes. Watch this.
Oh, is that a tomato fight?
Spain hosts this.
Oh.
It's the famous La Tomatina festival where participants throw 150,000 tomatoes at each other in a massive tomato/food fight. And they've been doing this since 1945.
Really?
Yeah, they roll out a truck with tons of tomatoes in it, and there are thousands of people in the streets, and they're just throwing tomatoes at each other.
Well,
Huh?
yes, well, I don't know. I guess, whatever.
Yep. Yeah, and all the tomato growers said, right on. You want another truck? Let's do it.
Yeah, that's really something.
Oh, man. Hey, did you know the largest tomato plant in the world is located at Walt Disney World Resort in Florida? It covers 56.73 square meters. It's bigger than an Olympic swimming pool.
One tomato plant.
One tomato plant, and the heaviest tomato ever recorded is just under 17 pounds, grown in Walla Walla, Washington.
Oh, right up here.
Yeah, so enjoy. It's Tomato
They didn't
Day.
mistake that for a watermelon?
You would think so.
Up there?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. Well, here's a guy that throws tomatoes in his sleep.
A look at our forecast from Grange Co-op. With high pressure bringing sunshine and warm temperatures, today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville, some patchy fog, then sunny and near 75 in McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with some spots of patchy fog, otherwise sunny with daytime highs in the mid-70s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene. Mostly sunny and nice today across central Oregon with high temperatures in the mid-70s for Prineville and Bend and low 70s around Sun River. Mostly sunny over in Boise, Idaho with a high near 76. Pretty nice spring day along the Oregon coast with mostly sunny skies and highs near 67 in Coos Bay. Mid to upper 50s for Port Orford and Brookings and near 60 in Crescent City, California with lows in the mid-40s. In southern Oregon, sunny and warm for the Rogue Valley and Klamath Basin with high temperatures in the low 80s around Grants Pass, upper 70s for Medford and mid-70s for Ashland and Klamath Falls. Into northern California, sunny and mid-70s for Wairika. The sunshine continues moving south with highs in the low to mid-80s for Redding, Chico, and Sacramento with a light northwest wind this afternoon. In the Bay Area, patchy morning fog, otherwise sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s, and sunny with a high near 77 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Okay, there's a picture of our valley this morning. The sun is coming up a little bit earlier these days. The days are getting a little longer, up to about June. So pretty nice shot there this morning. Beautiful weather.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a lovely weekend, a wonderful Easter Sunday. Church was filled, and I know in your church and mine as well, a whole bunch of people came to the Lord and were baptized after church.
Yeah, we had 10 baptisms
It's
yesterday.
wonderful.
We hold them down until there's no more bubbles. Well, when they come up, they are converted.
Well, now that's real encouraging.
Just thought I'd mention that.
It might work.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, but here's some encouragement with Ann Graham Lotz.
He is great and awesome and powerful and majestic, and we can come to him. He's available. He's accessible. Anyone who comes to him must believe that he is, as he's revealed in Scripture, and that he rewards those who seek him. And the reward, maybe it's not giving you the answer to prayer, when you pray it, how you pray it, what you pray, He doesn't give us exactly what we want and ask for, and I'm old enough to thank him for that. He's so much wiser than me. But I think the reward is that we can find him, that he's accessible, that we can have a personal, permanent love relationship with the Creator. It's just mind-blowing, isn't it? That the one who rules the universe, that spins the planets, that keeps this earth rotating, that created gravity so it won't fall off when we turn around, and the sun comes up every morning, and we can come to him. It's precious, it just washes all over you, that when you come to him by faith, believing that he is, as he's revealed himself in Scripture, you're certain of him. He's the creator. And he's the one who became your Savior because he loves you so much you can come to him through the blood of Jesus. Praise God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff. Thank you, Ann. Good stuff all the way around. Well, good morning to you. Let's take a look at some of the top stories. Of course, the big one was this amazing rescue over the weekend. The president is calling the rescue of the second airman from the F-15 on Saturday. He's calling it the Easter miracle. There's a picture of him there. This young man apparently was injured quite a bit.
Yeah, I hear serious injuries, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, they said the enemy was large and violent, but what they did is they kind of did a bait and switch.
Yeah.
They distracted the enemy. This is all behind enemy lines.
Right.
They distracted them to another part of the country, and the enemy took the bait and went over there, and they slipped in behind the scenes into the mountains and got the guy and got him out. And quite the deal. Mm-hmm. Pretty impressive. So, like you said, this is probably a movie.
I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. And I heard this brought up, and I've been just spinning in my brain ever since, so I'll give it to you. It was speculated that we have not suffered any shoot-downs over this theater of operations at all until this one. And it's been speculated that the Iranians have acquired some Russian technology very recently that allowed them to do this.
Well, we have lost 3 planes. We lost one. They got him. They lost this guy.
Yeah, but we haven't lost a fighter yet. This is the first.
They lost
fighter.
an A-10.
An A-10. Well, isn't that
it's a fighter bomber thing.
Yeah.
But they got him.
Okay. So you don't think that they have it?
And they got this guy. Well, I don't know. You're saying Russia giving them some. Look, they're getting some technology. Whether it's Russia or China, something's happening.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it could come either way, couldn't it?
Yeah, and I guess what's so interesting to me is that with the intelligence being what it is, don't they know that?
I would think that they would, especially if they used it for this. I think there would be telltale signs and that they would know it. Now, whether they would talk about it or not, at least at this point, perhaps not.
There was another bombing over the weekend that took out a bunch of military leaders.
Yes.
And the president, I think the president didn't do himself any favors with his rant on Truth Social over the weekend.
No. Does he ever do himself any favors when he does that?
This was pretty bad.
This was bad, yeah.
But the point is that the president said, this is the other story here, using some pretty bad language, posted Sunday that the Americans now, the United States, will target Iran's power plants and bridges tomorrow, Tuesday, if the Straits of Hormuz is not reopened. Excuse me. So he's saying Tuesday, quote, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day all wrapped up into one. There'll be nothing like it. And so we'll see what happens. But he's given Iran 48 hours to open up the strait. Now, I don't know what constitutes an open passage.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But now, if they start taking out power plants, let me ask you this. Doesn't that impact the citizens?
Yes. Oh, big time, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, the ex-CIA chief reveals how the agency exploited Iran's communication channels and kind of messed things up. The airmen spent roughly, the one they picked up was 36 hours hiding in the mountains after ejecting from the F-15. And former CIA station chief Dan Hoffman talks about what they did.
This is like shades out of the Normandy invasion, where we would try to deceive the Iranians into thinking that we were exfiltrating them from someplace else, reportedly a maritime exfiltration, to throw them off the scent of what was really happening at the time. Look, I can tell you from my experience at the CIA, there's nothing more fulfilling than being involved in a sacred operation like this one to rescue one of our airmen from behind enemy lines. The CIA was there to track his location. Remember, he was out there for 36 hours, escape and evasion, putting into effect what he learned at SEER school. And then at the same time, the CIA is tracking Iranian security forces, their movements, their efforts to find and fix the location of our airmen. And then at the same time, running this deception operation, an extraordinary operation. I've heard it referred to as looking for a needle in a haystack. I think it's more like a needle in a stack of needles. Extraordinarily difficult, and I'm sure that we'll be learning more in the coming days. So we know a lot about Iranian security forces. We know that they are still trying to collect information themselves. After all, we're fighting a war against Iran. And so the CIA would have looked to find those channels of communication that we know we can exploit, that the Iranian security forces are listening to. Iran has still a pretty developed cyber capability, and what we would have done is simply supplied some information there, some of it true, to establish the bona fides of the channel that we were using, and then this deception operation would have been run in that channel.
Wow.
So that tells me that if they're listening in to the channels, they would know that if they've been picked up some intelligence or military capabilities from Russia.
Did you see the operational name for that deception campaign? It was called Hook, Line, and Sinker. I love that.
Well, they did it. They took it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
So the other thing that came out of the weekend, especially now with the president's ultimatum for tomorrow, is high alert for terrorist cells around the world, especially in the United States. And so we'll see. Look, the whole world should be very vigilant right now. And a lot of finger pointing going on. But let me just say this, whether you're for or against it, I understand the arguments and all that. We're in it, we better win it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You can't get out of here now.
Right.
You're in it, you got to win it. Yeah. And so we need to be vigilant in our prayers for not only protection, but for wisdom, and quite frankly, for favor.
Yeah.
You're dealing with an enemy that's evil.
Yeah.
And we better win this one completely, not partially. So we'll see what happens on all that. So those are some of the top stories on this Back at It Monday morning. We'll take a quick, what is it?
Yeah, what are we eating today? Oh, we're eating caramel popcorn and carbonara. And if you want...
I can't remember if I ever had... Maybe I've had carbonara.
How about tomatoes? You want a tomato?
No.
Let's go throw some.
Well, speaking of food, I read a sign over the weekend. 25 years ago, we had Johnny Cash, Bob Hope, and Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Today, we have no Cash, no Hope, no Jobs. Dear Lord, please don't let them find Kevin Bacon. We'll be right back.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old-world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Okay, welcome back. 21 minutes past the hour. A little bit of a backyard news, you know, as we head down towards, well, see, where are we heading now? We're heading towards, the end of April.
Yeah.
And then we go into a primary.
Uh-huh. Oh,
You know,
yeah.
the whole primary thing. You know, are you registered to vote?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, your last day to register to vote is April 28th. So if you change your party affiliation or your name or your location, you got to register to vote. Okay.
Yeah.
Couple of backyard things. Also, register online now for the what they're calling Hearts with the Mission annual superhero run. This is kind of a fun deal, and it's a 10K, 5K, and a 1 mile fun run. It's believed on May 2nd at the Valley of the Rogue State Park. You ever run that course out there?
You know what? I have been out to that course, and I have had kids run that course, and I have run with some of their coaches from station to station to encourage. By the time the race was over, I felt like I had run the whole race.
Well, you're back and forth doing that, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great course.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a fun run, and the goal of all of this is to create a fun atmosphere while supporting homeless and at-risk youth in our community through Hearts with the Mission. So go online and superhero run and get registered for that. So it should be a fun thing to do if you like running. Okay.
Yeah,
Here's another one.
I used to. I used to like running.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, then
Sorry.
Drag your right leg out there.
Now I think I'm running.
Yeah,
okay,
I think
go.
you're running. I get that. I used to run, but boy, oh boy, had they had Hocus when I was running, I'd probably still be running.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes.
Because it really took its number on your back, your lower back, and your knees.
Yeah. Yep.
But now you got these thing called Hocus.
Hocus, yeah.
Gosh, and they do make a running shoe. They make a walking shoe, running shoe, hiking shoe.
And they're like being on clouds.
They're like being on a cloud.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, the other thing we want to shout out to is Cascade Christian Schools are going to have Grace Cascade Christian Schools having their second online auction. And it's called the Anchors of Hope auction. And it's kind of like, you go on there and you bid. So go to Anchors of Hope auction for Grace Christian Schools and check it out. And there's all kinds of things on there. Now, you can do what I do. I go there and, I got to be careful because you could end up buying something that you really didn't
Right. So you're.
But my job is to drive the
prices up.
Yeah.
And once in a while you get caught.
You
can.
So far, I have been pretty lucky.
All right,
doing
all right.
this. So there are great organizations that do this, but this is, you may want to check it out. Anchors of Hope auction online. Check it out. All kinds of good things there. Everything that's on there, you probably use or need or experience.
Right.
So check it out and help the schools out and do what they do because it's one of the great Christian organizations, education organizations, actually in the state. I think they are the biggest in the state now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really good stuff.
they are good.
Not that bigness is the answer.
No.
It's just that the need is there so much. All right, let's take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on. According to Mr. Tomato, what is that, Tomato Head?
What is that spinning out there?
I don't know.
I mean, it's like a separate system all in its own. But I pop up my weather app, and guess what pops up?
Rain later in the week.
New York. I got New York. I don't have anything for us.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can bail you out here.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, my little app's not...
No, I think we're having... Excuse me.
Here we go.
Got this.
I got it.
Okay. Excuse me. We're going to have rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week, or this week. So we'll see how it goes. But mild temperatures, too.
Yeah. Hey, do we have Wi-Fi? Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, look at that. You're right. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
How about that? And chilly, too. It's going to get into the mid-50s. Okay.
That's all right.
All right. You know, we've been looking at some states, some blue states that are dealing with some fraud issues.
Oh, boy.
Obviously, we're looking at Minnesota. I think that it would be wise to look into places in Illinois. And obviously, one of the places in the crosshairs is California.
California.
Yeah, and that thing is just starting, don't we think?
Well, I think, quite frankly, I think it's also being strategically released.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
That's my take on it. But yes, I think you're going to find California to make some of these other states look like nothing.
Could be interesting. Well, California GOP gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton discusses investigations into alleged fraud in the state, and he criticizes Governor Gavin Newsom's response, and he did this on Life, Liberty, and Levin.
So many people now are focusing on this because we are the biggest state with the biggest budget and the biggest fraud and corruption. So if you look at the central question Californians are asking, which is, how is it possible that we pay the highest taxes in the country for the worst results? The homelessness, the schools are a disaster. We have the highest cost of living, the highest poverty rate, the highest unemployment rate, and yet we pay with the worst roads in the country, even though we have the highest gas tax. Well, now we see the answer. Fraud and corruption on an epic scale after 16 years of one-party rule by a corrupt Democrat regime. And so if you look at the details, we just published a report with my organization I set up as part of my campaign, theDove, modeled on the president's work, of course, at the federal level. We just published a report that over the last 5 years in California, if you look at publicly available data, the bill, the total cost is $22,000 per taxpayer. Just gone. I mean, it's just an epic scale. And so we've got to shut this down. And the Newsom response is to smear people who are trying to do this, to deny it, to deflect, to pretend that he's already dealt with it. He is so full of it. And this fraud issue is one of the #1 reasons we can never let that man anywhere near the White House.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so look, there's so much here. Kash Patel over the weekend announced this huge expansion of investigation into frauds, including elected officials. And so I think you're going to see some Republicans caught up in this too.
Yeah.
But the point is, California is a mess. And I don't know how people can afford to live there. You can't afford to put gas in your car and go to work. You can't afford to buy diesel down there.
Right.
It's absolutely crazy. The big companies are leaving. More are going to leave.
Well, yeah, we've got a wealth tax being proposed in a lot of these blue states, especially California, and of course,
Washington now.
Now, not only the wealth tax, but the exit tax. If you're rich and you decide you don't want to get your taxes increased and you're going to leave, now they're really seriously contemplating putting exit taxes on folks who leave the state.
I know people that are moving their tangible assets out of the state as we speak. They have now until November to get their inventory out of the state before November.
Wow.
And the only thing I can say to, I don't know. Look, California is a beautiful state.
Oh, yeah.
And what Steve Hilton said there, the last 16 years has been ruined by this one-party rule. Can you say Oregon? Can you say Washington?
Yeah.
And it's just got to come. You know, Portland, beautiful city, crashed and burned.
Yeah.
Values are falling through the floor. San Francisco, beautiful city, crashed and burned, falling through the floor.
Yes.
Southern California can't get its act together, and yet the Olympics are coming there. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
They haven't built one house back into where all those houses burned down. And the list goes on. California farmers are being run out because they want to tax oxygen, water, and bugs. I mean, it's just crazy. So I don't know how much longer Californians are going to put up with this. And can you afford to do it? You know, will California declare bankruptcy? You know, Stockton, I think, was the first city in the United States that, as a metropolitan area, that declared bankruptcy.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And I think the state could declare bankruptcy.
Oh, man.
Then what do you do?
Well, you don't hire Gavin Newsom as the leader of the country, that's for sure.
And you know, if you dig into him as a person and into what he believes as a person and how he is governed, that should disqualify him.
Yeah.
His new wife now has got all kinds of issues.
Oh, she's
really off the rails.
Did you see? She just took the kids. She took the Newsom children on a trip to the South, and she was being interviewed about the trip that she was taking with the kids, and she said she wanted her kids to learn about closed-mindedness, prejudice, and lack of opportunity, basically. So she took her kids to Alabama and South Carolina and some southern states, insinuating that these places are closed-minded and racist, and she wanted her kids to experience this. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is a political ad just made to order. But she should have also told her kids, this is where all of the people who are leaving California are moving.
Well, Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the gap between normal and crazy is getting wider. But let me just back up and say, even this morning I was reading, it was an all-time church attendance yesterday across the nation.
Really?
Yes.
Fabulous.
Yes, it was like a huge Easter Sunday in all denominations.
Wonderful.
Now, some, are off the rails, but the point being
All right.
you guys, packed twice?
Packed. No, just one.
Okay.
One big service and like 20 plus baptisms.
Okay, we had 10 baptisms and 4 services, okay, and they were all packed out.
Oh, man.
Okay, and other churches are. So something is brewing. People are coming to the realization that crazy now just doesn't translate into life. It just translates into craziness. And you'll never see this in the media. There is how did they say? Oh, they call it the silent revival. There is a silent revival going on around the world. The UK's upside down, but the underground church is growing like crazy, almost like the church that they have found in Iran and in China. There is a huge brewing inside the UK. The United States, we have young people coming to church. So the flip side of all of this is really good. Where we get kind of tied up in the headlines, the headlines is producing the hunger for truth. And they're seeking that truth by going to church. And I think, well, man, this is our day. Hopefully we're there, doing what God called us to do. So anyway, so much for crazy.
Happy Monday.
You know what?
What?
Maybe we ought to just get a whole truckload of tomatoes and throw them at the crazies.
I can understand why they would do something like that.
I hate seeing tomatoes being wasted like that. All right, we'll be right back.
I'm holding on to the center of your love. 'Cause everything reminds me of you.
The 71.5 Golf Challenge arrives Saturday, May 16th with a 4-person scramble, morning and afternoon shotguns, and a 6:30 award social. Register your team by April 1st for an early bird special. Score the team player pack for just $20 instead of $100 with the code EARLYBIRDIE. Become a sponsor and help kids across Southern Oregon. Visit 715.org or call 541-779-3275. At the 71.5 Golf Challenge, your drive saves lives.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests, or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon.
Jerry, did you know that we're farmers?
Farmers? I knew there was a reason I like overalls.
At theDove, we plant seeds of hope, truth, and the gospel every day.
And when those seeds land in the right hearts, lives change.
But every harvest needs more hands.
That's where you come in.
Today, become a farmer with theDove. Plant a seed, help it grow.
Your gift reaches someone who needs hope.
Don't wait, join us in this harvest.
Let's grow something eternal together.
Give today at theDove.
All right, welcome back. Happy Monday. Back at it after Easter. And like I said, trust all your eggs were hard-boiled.
Oh, by the way, I got a text from Debbie. Thank you for the reminder. We do an early service as well, a sunrise service.
Yeah.
It's a community service, and a guest pastor comes in, and we set up outside in the cold, and I can't believe I forgot it because I've played many times for the sunrise service, and you go out and your fingers barely move, your strings are out of tune.
Oh, I know.
And everybody sings anyway.
Oh, yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, we did a 6:30 one, too. It was a beautiful sunrise. I mean, I didn't go to that service, but I saw the sun come up at that time.
Okay.
I remember I did a sunrise service at the ball field in Klamath Falls years ago. They asked me to come over and be the guest speaker there.
Okay.
So I'm sitting on home plate. Or not sitting, standing on home plate was where the podium was.
Yeah.
It was freezing. I mean, it was freezing. Klamath Falls, you know, and I'm supposed to, you know, say something intelligent.
You're just working to say something.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Good morning to you. Our good friend Chris Mitchell has the update from Jerusalem this morning. Let's check out and see what he has to say.
In Jerusalem, it's kind of late right now, but I'm just a last-minute update on the latest of what's happening with the war with Iran. And if there is an alert that comes, I'll have to go to the bomb shelter, which is just around the corner. I was in there earlier today, as many Israelis were throughout the country, from missiles from either the Houthis, Hezbollah, or Iran itself. So an A-10 Warthog crashed near the Strait of Hormuz. Thankfully, the pilot was recovered. President Trump says that the downing of the U.S. fighter is not going to impact negotiations as the search continues for him. And it's the first time since 2003 that an American warplane has been shot down over enemy territory. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Israel has struck the key petrochemical facilities, and he's calling them the backbone of the financial and military of Iran. He says, and I'm quoting, "I promise that we would continue to crush the terrorist regime in Tehran," and that is exactly what we are doing. And he said it is targeting Iran's money machine, following earlier strikes on the steel production that really is a major part of the economy of the Islamic regime. And so these are key installations that both Israel and the U.S. are hitting. So this is there is military industrial infrastructure. So that's so we're in the 6th week of Operation Epic Fury and Operation Roaring Lion, and very important now to especially be praying for this serviceman that he will be recovered. And also we are here. It is, I can hear church bells ringing right now. The beginning of celebration here of Easter in Jerusalem, and happy Resurrection Day. I came across this just earlier. I thought it would be very encouraging, edifying to share. And this is all about Jesus when he was there being taking the stripes on his back and going to the cross for us. It says he received 39 stripes because 40 was known to kill a man. They wanted him alive. They held handfuls of his beard and hair and pulled it out by the roots. They wanted him alive. They kicked, punched, and spit on him for hours until there was not a single spot on his body not covered in blood. They wanted him alive. They shoved a crown of thorns down on his head so harshly it struck in his skin. They wanted him alive. After hours of being beaten, mocked, whipped, flogged, and tortured, they made him walk with a cross. They made him carry it, a rough piece of wood with splinters digging into fresh runes. They wanted him alive. And by the way, I hope you saw some of our YouTube lives yesterday. We're actually in the spot where it may have been where Pilate approached the crowd and said, "Behold a man," and gave him over the crowd to be crucified. It goes on, this report. He could have stopped all of it. He could have called every angel in heaven to demolish every person standing and shouting, "Crucify him." He didn't. He knew in order to have a Sunday, you have to have a Friday. He knew in order to have joy, you have to carry a cross. He felt everything that day. He felt how your heart broke wide open when you had to watch your baby die. He felt how heavy your life was when you were staring down the barrel of a gun, wondering if the man you called husband was going to shoot you. He carried the weight of the burden you have felt since your spouse died, and life doesn't seem right since. On that cross, he held the rapist and the murderers, the sinner and the saint. He leveled every playing field and said, "All of you are worth it." He knew he had to carry the cross. He never promised the cross you carry in this life would not be heavy. It was his, wasn't. His promise is that Sunday is coming. No matter how heavy Friday is, financially, emotionally, mentally, or physically, Friday is heavy. That cross is weighing you down and you are about to crumble under its weight. His promise was simply this: he won't make you carry it alone. What kind of king would step down from his throne for this? Jesus of Nazareth, the Son of God, did for you. He did every bit of it for you and me. Oh, yes, it is heavy, so heavy sometimes you do not think you can take one more step. But look up, because Sunday is coming. So many of you may have financial burdens, relational troubles, medical issues, may having a loved one that is suffering from cancer and has a grim prognosis. But the Lord is aware of all of that, and he can help carry those burdens. And he said, "Come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, for my burden is easy and my yoke is light."
Well, there you go. From the war zone, giving hope. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Chris Mitchell, what a great guy. All right, let's check out the weather with Mr. Tomato Head.
A look at our forecast from Grange Co-op. With high pressure bringing sunshine and warm temperatures, today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville, some patchy fog, then sunny and near 75 in McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with some spots of patchy fog, otherwise sunny with daytime highs in the mid-70s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene. Mostly sunny and nice today across central Oregon with high temperatures in the mid-70s for Prineville and Bend and low 70s around Sun River. Mostly sunny over in Boise, Idaho with a high near 76. Pretty nice spring day along the Oregon coast with mostly sunny skies and highs near 67 in Coos Bay. Mid to upper 50s for Port Orford and Brookings and near 60 in Crescent City, California with lows in the mid-40s. In southern Oregon, sunny and warm for the Rogue Valley and Klamath Basin with high temperatures in the low 80s around Grants Pass, upper 70s for Medford and mid-70s for Ashland and Klamath Falls. Into northern California, sunny and mid-70s for Wairika. The sunshine continues moving south with highs in the low to mid-80s for Redding, Chico, and Sacramento with a light northwest wind this afternoon. In the Bay Area, patchy morning fog, otherwise sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s and sunny with a high near 77 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Beautiful, beautiful picture from the top of Roxy Ann looking to the northeast. That's Mount Pitt. If some would know that as Mount Pitt.
Yes.
McLaughlin out there. Anyway, beautiful sunrise this morning.
All right. Well, you know, we know that, and we've heard it said that necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
Sometimes a necessity and accident come together, and that's what happened on this day in 1930 as snack history was made. Looking for a way to keep his bakery's shortcake machines running when the strawberries were out of season, James Dewar tried something new. He filled a small sponge cake with cream. He called it the Twinkie. Originally, Twinkies were filled with banana cream, but during World War II, bananas were rationed, so the company switched to vanilla cream, the flavor we still know today. Made by Hostess Brands, Twinkies quickly became one of America's most famous snack cakes. And despite the legend, Twinkies do not last forever. Their shelf life is only about 45 days, although that hasn't stopped them from becoming the butt of countless jokes about having an eternal shelf life. Still, they've become a pop culture icon, appearing in movies, TV shows, and lunchboxes for generations. In fact, over 1 million Twinkies are eaten every day. Not bad for a little cream-filled experiment dreamed up for keeping production running during the Great Depression.
Hey. All right, there you go.
How about that? Twinkies, the health food, brought to you by Hostess. I don't know. I wonder if RFK
Does the Twinkie have a shelf life of 52 years?
Wait a minute. No, it doesn't. 45 days.
Oh.
Yeah. But that is the folklore about Twinkies, is they never go bad. It's kind of like a McDonald's hamburger, right? Yeah, they never go bad.
Yeah, well, they did find one that was years old. And it was, yeah,
Yes.
There you go. All right, well, listen, you ever been to Washington, D.C.?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so have you seen the Washington Monument?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, way up there. What's written at the very top in stone? Okay, and where is it facing? So this is the First Liberty Institute explains it.
Do you know what's inscribed at the top of the Washington Monument? At the very heart of D.C. is the monument to George Washington. When it was finished in 1884, it was the tallest building in the world, just over 555 feet. At the very top of this monument is an aluminum cap, and inscribed in that cap in Latin are the words Laus Deo, which translate, of course, to praise be to God. That means when the first rays of dawn come over the Capitol every morning, the first thing that they touch is praise to God on the top of this monument. Inside the cornerstone, a copy of the Constitution and a Bible. And there are commemorative stones set in the interior walls. From Pennsylvania, a quote from Isaiah, "Holiness to the Lord." From some New York Sunday school children, from Proverbs, "The memory of the just is blessed." From Indiana, "In God we trust." I think George Washington would approve. How do I know that? Well, he wrote a prayer for America in 1783 and sent it to every state governor. It begins, "Almighty God, we make our earnest prayer that thou wilt keep the United States in thy holy protection." He goes on to say, our only hope of being a happy nation is if we all try to be more like the divine author of our blessed religion. This kind of thing could give the separation of church and state people a migraine. And I know you may be thinking, well, Stuart, that's great and everything, but why does it matter in 2026? Well, when Coach Joe Kennedy won his case at the U.S. Supreme Court, they not only granted him the right to take a knee on the 50, they also ended a 50-year-old bad precedent concerning religious expression in public places. The new test relies on American history and tradition, which in a beautifully providential way arrived right on time for America's 250th. And the more you know about the history and tradition of the United States, the more the future of religious freedom looks monumental.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you've never been there, you need to go.
Oh, man.
Go to that monument, go to the Lincoln Memorial, and certainly go to the Jefferson Memorial and read all the things that he wrote that's inside the rotunda of the Jefferson Memorial. You know?
Yes, good.
You need to go to the Vietnam Memorial, which we now have a duplicate or replica of that right here in Southern Oregon. It's almost completed. So anyway, you'll find out that our forefathers were very much God-fearing men.
Yeah, and they weren't too worried about separation of church and state, were they?
No, that's nowhere in any of our documents.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, just a little history for you.
That's
A little history for you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
And he calls me redeemed. When others say I'll never be enough. And greater is the one living inside of me than he who is living in the world.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house. We chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Lizer with Lizer Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
Once again, our very own Dove TV was recognized for excellence by the National Religious Broadcasters with the prestigious Station of the Year Award for 2026.
And this year's recipient of TV Station of the Year Award is Dove TV.
This makes 9 times the Dove has been honored by our peers with this celebrated national award. We're grateful, and another reason to stay encouraged and informed by watching and supporting the Dove TV.
All right, good morning to you. The other day I had Michael Tadlock on. He's quite a guy. I had him on Focus today and asked him what he meant by when he uses the term, the cultural moment is in a storm. Here's what he had to say.
I think what we all know right now when we're looking at the world around us, there's a lot of chaos. We can go back beyond just the last 5 years, but specifically the last 5 years, I think people are more awakened to the tensions that's in our culture right now. And it feels like a storm. It feels like the wind is blowing pretty hard, and there's tensions politically, there's tensions certainly in relationships, whether it's current events. But the thing that I'm trying to address the most in our church or any opportunity I have is what's the spirit, what's the spiritual dynamics and battle that's taking place behind the cultural battle. Most people are familiar with the cultural tensions, the topics that are divisive, causing rifts in families and churches and leaderships, certainly in our nation. But what I'm really more attuned to is what's the spiritual battle and what are the spiritual things we need to be discerning behind the cultural battles. And so that's the storm behind the storm. One of the things that Satan can do is we know that he distorts. We know that he's a liar. Jesus made it very clear that he's the father of lies and that he's a murderer and that he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But his weapon of choice is lying. And I think that he's a master at deception. He's also a master at distraction. And that's part of the tactics the enemy uses, is to get us distracted. And I think the more that we can get caught up in things that pulls us away from the clarity and the conviction of the gospel, then he can win that territory. He can win that game. But we've been called to bring the gospel with clarity and conviction. That's what will bring redemption and hope to the world. So I think if he can get us caught up and distracted, then he can distort our mission and purpose.
Well, look, he really is quite a guy. He's also, he pastors the church, but he also is the chaplain to the Trailblazers.
All right.
And he was saying that he's now having more people show up at their pre-game prayer time, chapel services.
Yeah.
He said people who work in the building, food vendors, ushers, along with the team players, are showing up for the chapel service before the games.
Fantastic.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, I got Michael Letts will be with us a little bit later on. David Roberts will be with us a little bit later on. Dr. I can't pronounce that last name, but I'll come up with it because I used to pronounce it. But I've only had 1 cup this morning. So. Okay, and we'll talk to him about what's happening in Iran.
All right. Well,
He's got a name about this long.
Yeah, okay, I love it. All right. Well, this is very interesting. At 80 years old, this woman set out on a 2,000-mile journey chasing a fresh start. Now, you know, a lot of 80-year-olds aren't willing to do a fresh start. I mean,
at 80?
Yeah, at 80, yeah. And she found something along the way even more powerful.
Lois Mayo left California with little more than her SUV, her 2 cats, and a dream of a new life in Tennessee. After 5 days on the road, she arrived, but quickly faced a tough reality. With limited money and nowhere to stay, Lois prepared to sleep in her car. Still, she stayed hopeful, saying, "There's angels everywhere." And she was right. A chance meeting at a local Walmart introduced her to Paris Barnes, who stepped in without hesitation. Paris told her, "God is using me to help you." So she helped secure a motel, raising money for her future, and even reconnecting Lois with her son after they lost contact. What started as a simple encounter turned into a life-changing bond. Today, Lois is determined to stay in Tennessee, a place she already calls home. And for Paris, she explained her motivation simply. "I truly believe we are called to serve others. And in this moment, this is what it looks like."
Amen.
Well, look for opportunities.
And you know what? God puts people in our lives, and you may recognize that, especially in hindsight. You know, we see that sometimes.
Right place at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. Take that with you. Lamentations 3:22.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why McKelly's is automotive service with a heart for God and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond, but that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
If you are tired, that means I get fed up. I am tired of living the way I'm living. If you're tired from carrying heavy loads, if you're not tired of trying to solve all the problems by yourself, Jesus can't help you. So let me ask you, are you tired? Are you tired of running on empty? Are you fed up with the emptiness that you've been feeling in your life? And are you willing to do something about it? As I said, we don't change until we feel the heat. You have to come some point in your life where you go, I have had enough. I refuse to live this way any longer.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
The world has a view, but God has the vision. With Alveda King and Women of Faith, Tuesday at 8:30 on the Dove TV. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Hope your Easter was delightful. The weather was delightful, and hope all your eggs were hard-boiled. You ever do an egg toss without a hard-boiled egg?
I have.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
It is.
Yeah.
You toss it, then you step back one, you keep doing it. Sooner or later,
Somebody's going to lose.
Somebody's going to lose.
That's right.
All right, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. Quite the rescue in Iran over the weekend, and we'll talk about that. Weather-wise, pretty nice for today and tomorrow, but we could see a change towards the end of the week. We'll talk about that. What do you got going, man?
Well, first of all, it is National Student Athlete Day, and our hats off to all student athletes out there. And, of course, hats off also to the women basketball players, UCLA. They won the national championship last night for the first time. Oh. They only had one loss all year. And especially on this National Student Athlete Day, I just want to remind everybody it's a great day to celebrate girls competing against girls and boys competing against boys.
What a concept.
Oh, my goodness.
What a concept.
It's one of those things that's catching on, more and more people are realizing, hey, that really is fair, isn't it?
God didn't make a mistake.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So all hats off to all the student athletes out there, and I got a whole crop of new ones growing up, and I can hardly keep up going to the games and the track meets, and it's like unfolded in front of us again.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And the fun thing about it is, we took our kids and we sat on the pines watching our kids with other parents, watching their kids, and now we're back watching our grandkids with the same people watching their grandkids in the same sport. We haven't seen each other in a few years, and now we're all back together again.
Okay, so those are the kids that are like below 12, right?
Yes.
What about the ones that are...
Well, I got some 13-year-olds. So I got two 13-year-olds. And the same thing, now they're in junior high sports. So,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, so they're still in sports.
Oh, yeah.
They're not into makeup.
Well, that too. You have to look good in between events, right?
Oh, boy.
And you might even want to look good during the event.
Okay, so you got an interesting stage to go through.
I know. It's also
gum.
Yes, it's National Employee Benefits Day.
Oh.
There you go. Okay, let's move on. National Tartan Day. It honors the Scottish heritage flowing through the United States and the estimated 20 to 25 Americans who claim Scottish descent. How about that?
Okay.
Scotty. Okay. Also, National Carbonara Day, a delicious pasta dish made up of a creamy sauce with bits of pancetta. Pancetta is like a bacon. Isn't it pancetta like bacon?
Kinda.
Kinda. But you're not supposed to use bacon. Purists say, no, you can't put bacon in there. I think, what, are you kidding me? You can put bacon in anything.
Well, that reminds me of my joke today.
Well, okay.
So, over 25 years ago, we had Johnny Cash, Bob Hope, and Steve Jobs. Today, we have no Cash, Hope, Jobs. So, dear Lord, don't let Kevin Bacon go.
All of that from carbonara.
There we go.
I love it. It is also National Caramel Popcorn Day.
Ooh.
And like many famous foods,
Cracker Jacks.
Cracker Jacks. They gained popularity at the stage of the 1893 World's Fair, and other foods to do the same with cotton candy and ice cream cones. But Cracker Jack is, it's kind of a staple.
Well,
do they still put a prize in there?
That's a good question. I don't know, but we call it Moose Munch here in Southern Oregon.
Moose Munch is good, yeah.
That's from Harry and David's Moose Munch.
Yes.
We got to plug our backyard here.
So there you go. That's a good one. Careful with your teeth.
All right.
Also, it is National Fresh Tomato Day. Do you like tomatoes? Come on, man. Raw tomatoes.
No.
Okay, there is the event I'm looking for. We are watching the famous La Tomatina Festival in Spain, where participants throw over 150,000 tomatoes at each other in a massive tomato food fight. Did you know tomatoes originated in the Andes Mountains of South America, particularly in modern-day Peru and Ecuador, and they were first cultivated by the Aztecs? The largest tomato plant in the world, located at Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, covers over 56 square meters, bigger than an Olympic swimming pool, and the heaviest tomato ever grown. Weighed 16.89 pounds, and it came out of Walla Walla, Washington. It wasn't a Walla Walla onion.
It wasn't an onion, wasn't it? Watermelon. Huh?
It wasn't a watermelon. And, initially when tomatoes were brought from the New World back to Europe, everybody thought it was poisonous. They didn't dare eat it. Yeah.
So what town is the capital of Spain? Do you know?
Is it Barcelona?
Is it Barcelona? Okay, so since they won't let us fly over Spain's airspace,
okay,
I think we should load up a C-135 or a C
with tomatoes.
With tomatoes, and just fly over
and drop it.
And drop it. What do you think?
Good for international diplomacy.
Well,
yeah, it's a great thing.
I mean, they won't let us fly over their airspace.
Right. Yeah.
Those hamburgers.
Here, enjoy this on your festival.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, here's.
No.
Huh?
No, don't do it.
No, okay. Do you like tomatoes?
Love tomatoes.
Do you like wearing tomatoes?
No.
Oh, okay.
A look at our forecast from Grange Co-op. With high pressure bringing sunshine and warm temperatures, today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville, some patchy fog, then sunny and near 75 in McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with some spots of patchy fog, otherwise sunny with daytime highs in the mid-70s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene. Mostly sunny and nice today across central Oregon with high temperatures in the mid-70s for Prineville and Bend and low 70s around Sun River. Mostly sunny over in Boise, Idaho with a high near 76. Pretty nice spring day along the Oregon coast with mostly sunny skies and highs near 67 in Coos Bay, mid to upper 50s for Port Orford and Brookings, and near 60 in Crescent City, California with lows in the mid-40s. In southern Oregon, sunny and warm for the Rogue Valley and Klamath Basin with high temperatures in the low 80s around Grants Pass, upper 70s for Medford and mid-70s for Ashland and Klamath Falls. Into northern California, sunny and mid-70s for Wairika. The sunshine continues moving south with highs in the low to mid-80s for Redding, Chico, and Sacramento with a light northwest wind this afternoon. In the Bay Area, patchy morning fog, otherwise sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s, and sunny with a high near 77 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, beautiful sunrise this morning. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's taken from the top of Roxanne, just to the east of it here, and that's looking northeast. So the sun's literally coming up between the mountains, just on the east side of Mount McLaughlin. Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.
What a gorgeous sunrise this morning. Good stuff all the way around.
Good morning. Well, something I think that is difficult for us is when we are faced with fear and confusion. Where do you turn? Well, here's some great encouragement and a reminder from Anne Graham Lotz.
George Bergen was a Navy man who worked for my mother and daddy. My sister Gigi would remember him, but he mowed the grass, he kept up the yard, and when it snowed, he would be at 2 o'clock in the morning, he'd be plowing the driveway so mother wouldn't get snowed in. He did lots of things for mother, but one of the things he did on the side, he was a deputy sheriff in Buncombe County right here. And so every year he had to requalify to be a deputy sheriff. The year that he requalified, one of the things you had to do, and I can't remember exactly how many shots he had to fire and how many seconds, but it was like 3 shots within 10 seconds. And he had to shoot that fast, and he had to be so accurate that he would hit the bullseye every time. So this particular year, he went to requalify for his deputy's license or his deputy's badge, and he came back and he told my mother about it, and he said, Ms. Graham, he said, I went, and he said, I was there, and I had to go to the firing range and shoot the pistol and aim at the target, but he said, I just gotten new bifocals. And he said, I wasn't used to the way you look through them. And he said, I began to get nervous and I was uptight and I began to sweat and my bifocals steamed up and then they slid down my nose. And he said, I just closed my eyes and he said, I pulled the trigger 3 times And then when I opened my eyes, I went and checked the target, and it hit the bullseye every time. And Mother said, George, how in the world did you do that? And he said, well, Ms. Graham, he said, when I lost sight of the target, I just remembered my position. And today, with all the craziness going on, the fog, the darkness that's coming on our land, the confusion, the fear, when your glasses fog up, remember your position. You're a child of the King. Jesus is seated on the throne.
Yeah. You ever gone to the range and shoot?
Mm-hmm.
You ever shoot a bow and arrow?
Yeah, you know, a long time ago. I wasn't very good at it.
Okay. You ever shoot skeet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ever putt a golf ball?
Poorly.
Okay.
Yes.
All of those require your position.
Oh, yes. Yeah, good point.
And do you look at the target?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's the only one would change there is when you're shooting skeet, you got to lead.
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah.
You got to lead a little bit, but
yeah.
Interesting.
Have you ever
if I close my eyes and hit the target 3 times.
Have you ever gone up to the free throw line and closed your eyes?
No.
Yeah, that works.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all position, like you said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shooting a basketball, yeah.
Well, I've done the ones, backwards.
Okay. Have you?
And made it.
I love it. I didn't know I had a Harlem Globetrotters.
No, mothers do that all the time. They have eyes in the back of their head.
Oh, don't they, though?
Yeah.
Oh, and my mom could reach in the back seat of the car.
And slap you?
Oh, she could reach us like, it's amazing.
Where'd that arm come from?
Sorry, Mom.
Okay, love you, Mom.
Yeah.
You didn't hit him hard enough. I will say that, though.
I was ducking and bobbing and weaving.
Good morning.
Oh, gosh.
All right, good morning, Taylor. Let's take a look at the top stories. Of course, the big one over the weekend was the second pilot that was inside the F-15 that went down a couple of days ago. They finally rescued him, and apparently it was quite the operation. Hook, line, and sinker. There he is. They picked him up. 36 hours he spent alone in the hills. And apparently the CIA and the military worked together, and they created a bait and switch.
Yeah.
They called it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
And the Iran military fell for it.
They took it hook, line, and sinker.
And they went to another location to think they could stop it, and our guys went in behind enemy line and picked him up. They're calling it the Easter miracle.
Apparently he apparently climbed up onto a ridge.
Yeah.
And now I know he was seriously injured, so this is going to be quite a story when the movie comes out.
This will be a movie.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
In the meantime, the president has given Iran 48 hours to open up the Strait of Hormuz, and so that means tomorrow. And if it doesn't happen tomorrow, quote, here's what the president said, Tuesday will be a power plant day and a bridge day all wrapped into one.
Oh, wow.
So the president did go to Truth Social over the weekend, and I have to say, Mr. President, you lowered yourself by using those words. It wasn't a good deal. I understand your anger and frustration, but that was not good.
Not appropriate.
In the meantime, we'll see. So if they take out bridges and power plants, what does that leave for the citizens and the ones that we are there to turn the country over to the citizens? What are we doing to the citizens if we do this?
That's a big, important question. Yes.
So just a few moments ago, it's been announced the president's going to address the war from the White House at 1 o'clock Eastern time. What's that? 10 o'clock our time. And so we'll see what he has to say. There are rumors, according to the Secretary of State's office, that they may have reached a ceasefire agreement to let ships begin to flow. So we'll see. I don't know. Name me one time that Iran has stood behind what they supposedly said they're doing.
Yeah, great.
It hasn't happened.
Yeah, it hasn't.
In the meantime, the CIA, this is a former CIA chief, Dan Hoffman, talks about what the agency did on this thing called the deception, hook, line, and sinker. And here's a little bit of an insight from his perspective.
This is like shades out of the Normandy invasion, where we would try to deceive the Iranians into thinking that we were exfiltrating them from someplace else, reportedly a maritime exfiltration, to throw them off the scent of what was really happening at the time. Look, I can tell you from my experience at the CIA, there's nothing more fulfilling than being involved in a sacred operation like this one to rescue one of our airmen from behind enemy lines. The CIA was there to track his location. Remember, he was out there for 36 hours, escape and evasion, putting into effect what he learned at SEER school. And then at the same time, the CIA is tracking Iranian security forces, their movements, their efforts to find and fix the location of our airmen. And then at the same time, running this deception operation, an extraordinary operation. I've heard it referred to as looking for a needle in a haystack. I think it's more like a needle in a stack of needles. Extraordinarily difficult, and I'm sure that we'll be learning more in the coming days. So we know a lot about Iranian security forces. We know that they are still trying to collect information themselves. After all, we're fighting a war against Iran. And so the CIA would have looked to find those channels of communication that we know we can exploit, that the Iranian security forces are listening to. Iran has still a pretty developed cyber capability, and what we would have done is simply supplied some information there, some of it true, to establish the bona fides of the channel that we were using, and then this deception operation would have been run in that channel.
Well, we'll see what happens. If they have that kind of information, that tells me that they probably would know whether or not China and Russia is supplying intelligence or some
technology.
Or technology, you know. High alert for terrorist cells around the world and other countries, our own being one of them. Okay, so most local agencies are on high alert for all this kind of stuff. Iran has been heavily damaged. Okay, what's left? Who knows? And who is the president talking to?
Yeah.
I think it was Friday night they hit a facility that took out a large portion of their brass of their military. They were in a building powwowing, and they got the building again.
Yeah.
You kind of go, who's running the place?
If you were an Iranian general and your phone rang and said, we're meeting tomorrow night at XYZ, what say you? Do you show up to the meeting?
Bring your own tomatoes.
Boom. Okay.
Because that's all you got left.
That's right.
No, I really, look, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And so I hope that the president, I understand his frustration. I get all that. And he's also a man of action. So he's proven that if you don't pay attention, he does do things. But if I understand correctly, we have two objectives here. One is to denuclearize totally Iran, and the other one is turn the country over to the citizens. Well, if you take out all the power plants, what have you done to the citizens? You know, so I don't know. So it's easy to sit back in an armchair of this thing and complain, but look, Iran has been knocked down and almost completely out. Whether you like President Trump or not, we're in this war, and we better win it completely. Completely win it. You don't start a war and then just leave it hanging out there. He's going to get criticized for all kinds of stuff. I get that. Time will tell over this, but wow. All right, 18 past the hour. We'll take a quick sliced tomato break.
Okay.
You like cooked tomatoes, you like sliced tomatoes, you like them on your hamburger. I like a tomato on a hamburger.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like a raw tomato.
Okay. You know,
Sometimes I pick them out of a salad.
Really?
Yeah.
How about cherry tomatoes?
Same thing.
Okay, I like.
There's just something about them I don't like. I think I know why.
Why?
When I was a kid, my dad made me eat a tomato.
Okay, we're going to talk about this during the break.
Yeah, because I'm psychologically damaged.
You are damaged.
Yes.
Well, we'll definitely have to talk. I have to get you to the point where you can walk through the garden and pick cherry tomatoes and eat them as you're walking down.
No.
It's wonderful.
No.
Oh, it's...
No.
Okay, we need to talk.
I need radishes and maybe strawberries, berries, you know.
Yeah.
Corn.
Well, it's that time of year, you know. It's time to start planting the gardens and getting ready.
I'm going to go hop on the couch with Jerry. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Over time, every wall tells a story, but sometimes those stories need a fresh start. At Chris Silva Painting, we specialize in transforming indoor spaces, whether it's your family home or your business workspace. With premium paints, flexible scheduling, and expert attention to detail, we make the process simple and stress-free so you can focus on what matters most, living and working in a space you love. From bold new colors to subtle tones of sophistication, let Chris Silva Painting bring your vision to life, one wall at a time. Chris and his crew are courteous. They're efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960. 541-890-3960.
Jerry, did you know that we're farmers?
Farmers? I knew there was a reason I like overalls.
At theDove, we plant seeds of hope, truth, and the gospel every day.
And when those seeds land in the right hearts, lives change.
But every harvest needs more hands.
That's where you come in.
Today, become a farmer with theDove. Plant a seed, help it grow.
Your gift reaches someone who needs hope.
Don't wait, join us in this harvest.
Let's grow something eternal together.
Give today at theDove.
Welcome back. Happy Monday. Back at it. Back to work. Back to school after all the things from the Easter weekend. And trust you had a good time and relaxed. Beautiful weather. Oh, yeah. Just some backyard things. The superhero run for Hearts with a Mission. Actually, it's in May, but they want you to register now because things get pretty anxious out there. This is going to be at the Valley of the Rogue State Park. Now, for those of us here in Southern Oregon, that's somewhere between, say, Gold Hill and Grants Pass.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's really a beautiful state park, and
yep.
the runs there are terrific.
It's a great course.
Yeah, so they have a 10K, a 5K, and a 1 mile run, and all of this is to help homeless and at-risk youth people, young people in our community, which Hearts with a Mission is par excellence in doing that. So if you're a runner, or just a fast walker, if you're a trotter, if you're dodging tomatoes, you can register at heartswiththemission.org and sign up for that big fun run coming up. That'll be in May. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I want to tell you is going on today. Today is what? What's today? What's the actual date today?
Date? What's the date today?
Today's the 6th.
Okay.
This is the last day of the Cascade Christian Auction. And
oh yeah, have you been driving prices up?
I ain't gonna tell you what I'm doing.
Anything in particular I should be looking at?
Well, I was gonna tell the superintendent over there, Eric, that I get a 3% commission.
Yeah, well, you're driving up prices at least.
Up prices over there.
Yeah.
So it's called. It's really Anchors of Hope auction there for Cascade Christian Schools. You can go to Cascade Grace Cascade Christian or Cascade Christian, click on the auction, and today's the last day, and so check it out.
All right.
It's really a lot of fun, and you know what? There's things on there that you end up using on an everyday. Look at that Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Yes.
Everybody needs a Chick-fil-A.
Absolutely.
Okay. And thank you to all the sponsors that make that happen, but. A great opportunity with a great organization.
Jerry's Rogue Jets, Outback.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Starbucks. There's everything here.
Precision Electric.
Yeah.
I guess they fix your plug.
There you go. Oh, my goodness.
Look at all that stuff on there.
There's a ton of stuff.
There's some pasta. You know, there you can get.
Go and bid.
You can go. Anyway, check it out and help them out as well. Right. So a couple of backyard announcements there. We're proud to do that. So, all right, let's take a look at Wall Street on this Monday morning. Let's see what's happened. Thank you, Preston. He has smart lawn. He's a smart guy because he helps you not to ever mow again. The Dow's off a little bit this morning, down 45, almost 46 points. The Nas went the other way, up almost 60 points, and the S&P up 7. So really not a fast activity on this day. Probably waiting anticipation of the president's speech coming up in a couple of hours. In the meantime, let's see what's happening with gold. It's coming in at $47.07 an ounce. Silver's at $72. Look at that. Can you believe that? Crude oil, 109. Oof. This is why the president went crazy and used some nasty words over the weekend. We've got to get the streets open.
I never thought of the motivation, I think.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Because his whole... You know what's interesting? The employment numbers came out Friday. They were way above expectation, which is a result of his economic policy. But the thing that's killing him right now, and all of us, are gas prices. And you've got to get gas prices down. So anyway, he didn't use nice words, and to me it was unpresidential for him to say what he said. Yeah. But on the other hand, maybe you can kind of understand their frustration.
Yeah, well, you know, waiting in the wings and watching all this activity is a fellow who is ready to run for president and say, "Make America California." Yeah.
No way.
Governor Gavin Newsom. But he's got a few issues he's going to have to deal with, I believe. And one of them is the potential corruption that is just starting to be looked at in the state of California. California GOP gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton discusses investigations into alleged fraud in the state and criticizes Governor Newsom's response. And he did this on Life, Liberty, and Levin.
So many people now are focusing on this because we are the biggest state with the biggest budget and the biggest fraud and corruption. So if you look at the central question Californians are asking, which is, how is it possible that we pay the highest taxes in the country for the worst results? The homelessness, the schools are a disaster. We have the highest cost of living, the highest poverty rate, the highest unemployment rate, and yet we pay with the worst roads in the country, even though we have the highest gas tax. Well, now we see the answer. Fraud and corruption on an epic scale after 16 years of one-party rule by a corrupt Democrat regime. And so if you look at the details, we just published a report with my organization. I set up as part of my campaign, theDove, modeled on the president's work, of course, at the federal level. We just published a report that over the last 5 years in California, if you look at publicly available data, the bill, the total cost is $22,000 per taxpayer. Just gone. I mean, it's just an epic scale. And so we've got to shut this down. And the Newsom response is to smear people who are trying to do this, to deny it, to deflect, to pretend that he's already dealt with it. He is so full of it. And this fraud issue is one of the #1 reasons we can never let that man anywhere near the White House.
Well, they're starting to unwind this now, and it's going to be bad. Look at I don't think he gets the nomination.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because of this.
Okay.
And they're going to wrap this around him pretty tight. And there's a lot of other people. Cory Booker is going to probably be in it.
Okay.
There's some other senators out there that are looking at running. They see the vulnerability of him here.
Let me ask you
wait till the ads start to run, you know.
Do you think Kamala's going to try it again? You know, I've been hearing little rumors that she is not pulled out of this yet.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. You can only hope she would run again.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And the word salads would fly.
Yes.
I don't know. But I think what will happen with Newsom, he can't outrun this stuff.
Right.
And sooner or later, when they start uncovering the fraud and start tying it back to agencies and agency leaders, at the end of the day, the boss is still the boss.
Right.
And he can run from it all he wants, but it happened under his watch. And so we'll see what happens. But, they're, you know, what was Illinois was what? Not Illinois, the state that had Waltz.
Oh, Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah. All right, so they said it was $9 billion.
Okay, yeah.
Just the first glance at one agency in California was $5 billion.
Oh,
They think it could be in the 20s before they get done uncovering it all. And a lot of it had started from COVID under welfare and where you didn't have to report things and they shut agencies down and all this shenanigan stuff was going on.
Yeah.
And they're passing out money like crazy.
They haven't even started to look at the high-speed rail that goes to nowhere.
Yeah. You saw that.
Yeah, I did. Oh, my goodness.
What do you do with a piece of rail sticking up in the air?
Up in the, yeah.
What do you do with it? Do you take it down? What do you do with it?
I think, honestly, I think they still plan on finishing it.
Really?
Yeah.
With whose money?
That's a great question. Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe they can turn it into runways. Just finish it up there instead of having, taking up ground space for.
You have experience with that kind of stuff.
Turned into a runway.
Runway.
Yeah, I used to land on.
Yes,
roads.
you did.
Legally.
That was my next question. Was it legal?
Yes.
It was.
I had permits to land on roads. Back then,
this
you
was
couldn't do it.
A road, an unopened highway under construction, a freeway.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's because it was under construction, and we got Caltrans permission to do that.
Did you? Okay.
I landed on one road. It was in Northern California. It's over here by a little town over here we all know.
Okay.
Alturas.
Yeah, yeah.
And you flew around, and my boss had a meeting. This is no joke. I'm not kidding you. He had a meeting. It's one of these country stores that was a bar, a cafe, and a store.
Okay.
Maybe muffler repair and
I get it.
And a hospital out back. But it was one of the, it really was.
Okay.
You know how it is in the country. You get everything in one building.
Yeah.
And so the guy that he was supposed to meet, we were going to pave the one of the roads out there. He said, "You're supposed to fly over the store, okay?" And the guy goes out and he parks this truck at the end of the road, okay?
Yeah.
And then you land.
Yeah.
And so it went down like this and went up. And I was flying a 206, and so we went in there and landed, and I taxied right up to the bar. And my boss gets out and he goes in and has a meeting, and he has his hamburger and all this and stuff. And we turned around, took off, and went down and took off on that road. Yeah. It's a pretty famous place. If I named it, everybody knew where it was.
You have had some experience.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? I'm not kidding you. I look back on that and I go, how stupid was I? I was young and dumb. You do things in your 20s that you just wouldn't normally do.
But it all went off without a hitch.
I didn't think anything about landing on the road. It was everyday experience to me, I look back on it now. How dumb were you? And you lived through it. So anyway, so much for all that. We'll be right back.
From the day you saved my soul.
Jerry, did you know that we're farmers?
Farmers? I knew there was a reason I like overalls.
At theDove, we plant seeds of hope, truth, and the gospel every day.
And when those seeds land in the right hearts, lives change.
But every harvest needs more hands.
That's where you come in.
Today, become a farmer with theDove. Plant a seed, help it grow.
Your gift reaches someone who needs hope.
Don't wait, join us in this harvest.
Let's grow something eternal together.
Give today at theDove.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com. Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Hi, good morning to you. 26 minutes before the hour, and our good friend Chris Mitchell's been up all night. Can you imagine Easter in Israel and missiles are flying around and get called into your bomb shelter?
Yeah.
So let's check in with Chris Mitchell and get the latest. Here's Chris.
In Jerusalem, it's kind of late right now, but I'm just a last-minute update on the latest of what's happening with the war with Iran. And if there is an alert that comes, I'll have to go to the bomb shelter, which is just around the corner. I was in there earlier today, as many Israelis were throughout the country, from missiles from either the Houthis, Hezbollah, or Iran itself. So an A-10 Warthog crashed near the Strait of Hormuz. Thankfully, the pilot was recovered. President Trump says that the downing of the U.S. fighter is not going to impact negotiations as the search continues for him. And it's the first time since 2003 that an American warplane has been shot down over enemy territory. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Israel has struck the key petrochemical facilities, and he's calling them the backbone the financial and military of Iran. He says, and I'm quoting, "I promise that we would continue to crush the terrorist regime in Tehran," and that is exactly what we are doing. And he said it is targeting Iran's money machine, following earlier strikes on the steel production that really is a major part of the economy of the Islamic regime. And so these are key installations that both Israel and the U.S. are hitting. So this is their military industrial infrastructure. So we're in the 6th week of Operation Epic Fury and Operation Roaring Lion, and very important now to especially be praying for this serviceman that he will be recovered. And also, we are here. It is, I can hear church bells ringing right now. The beginning of celebration here of Easter in Jerusalem, and happy Resurrection Day. I came across this just earlier. I thought it would be very encouraging, edifying to share. And this is all about Jesus when he was there taking the stripes on his back and going to the cross for us. It says he received 39 stripes because 40 was known to kill a man. They wanted him alive. They held handfuls of his beard and hair and pulled it out by the roots. They wanted him alive. They kicked, punched, and spit on him for hours until there was not a single spot on his body not covered in blood. They wanted him alive. They shoved a crown of thorns down on his head so harshly it struck in his skin. They wanted him alive. After hours of being beaten, mocked, whipped, flogged, and tortured, they made him walk with a cross. They made him carry it, a rough piece of wood with splinters digging into fresh runes. They wanted him alive. And by the way, I hope you saw some of our YouTube lives yesterday. We're actually in the spot where it may have been where Pilate approached the crowd and said, "Behold a man," and gave him over the crowd to be crucified. It goes on, this report, he could have stopped all of it. He could have called every angel in heaven to demolish every person standing and shouting, "Crucify him." He didn't. He knew in order to have a Sunday, you have to have a Friday. He knew in order to have joy, you have to carry a cross. He felt everything that day. He felt how your heart broke wide open when you had to watch your baby die. He felt how heavy your life was when you were staring down the barrel of a gun, wondering if the man you called husband was going to shoot you. He carried the weight of the burden you have felt since your spouse died, and life doesn't seem right since. On that cross, he held the rapist and the murderer as the sinner and the saint. He leveled every playing field and said, "All of you are worth it." He knew he had to carry the cross. He never promised the cross you carry in this life would not be heavy. It was his, wasn't. His promise is that Sunday is coming. No matter how heavy Friday is, financially, emotionally, mentally, or physically, Friday is heavy. That cross is weighing you down and you are about to crumble under its weight. His promise was simply this: He won't make you carry it alone. What kind of king would step down from his throne for this? Jesus of Nazareth, the Son of God, did for you. He did every bit of it for you and me. Oh, yes, it is heavy, so heavy sometimes you do not think you can take one more step. But look up, because Sunday is coming. So many of you may have financial burdens, relational troubles, medical issues, may having a loved one that is suffering from cancer and has a grim prognosis. But the Lord is aware of all of that, and he can help carry those burdens. And he said, "Come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, for my burden is easy and my yoke is light."
Good stuff. Thank you, Chris. Good all the way around. All right, let's check out the weather on this Monday morning.
A look at our forecast from Grange Co-op. With high pressure bringing sunshine and warm temperatures, today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville, some patchy fog, then sunny and near 75 in McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with some spots of patchy fog, otherwise sunny with daytime highs in the mid-70s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene. Mostly sunny and nice today across central Oregon with high temperatures in the mid-70s for Prineville and Bend and low 70s around Sun River. Mostly sunny over in Boise, Idaho with a high near 76. Pretty nice spring day along the Oregon coast with mostly sunny skies and highs near 67 in Coos Bay, mid to upper 50s for Port Orford and Brookings, and near 60 in Crescent City, California with lows in the mid-40s. In southern Oregon, sunny and warm for the Rogue Valley and Klamath Basin with high temperatures in the low 80s around Grants Pass, upper 70s for Medford and mid-70s for Ashland and Klamath Falls. Into Northern California, sunny and mid-70s for Wairika. The sunshine continues moving south with highs in the low to mid-80s for Redding, Chico, and Sacramento with a light northwest wind this afternoon. In the Bay Area, patchy morning fog, otherwise sunny with highs in the mid-70s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s, and sunny with a high near 77 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, a beautiful shot of our valley this morning. That's down at the south end, looking good down there. All right. Oh, nice.
Absolutely. We have heard it said that necessity is the mother of invention. And here's a great case in point, as on this day in 1930, snack history was made. Looking for a way to keep his bakery's shortcake machines running when the strawberries were out of season, James Dewar tried something new. He filled a small sponge cake with cream. He called it the Twinkie. Originally, Twinkies were filled with banana cream, but during World War II, bananas were rationed, so the company switched to vanilla cream, the flavor we still know today. Made by Hostess brands, Twinkies quickly became one of America's most famous snack cakes. And despite the legend, Twinkies do not last forever. Their shelf life is only about 45 days, although that hasn't stopped them from becoming the butt of countless jokes about having an eternal shelf life. Still, they've become a pop culture icon, appearing in movies, TV shows, and lunchboxes for generations. In fact, over 1 million Twinkies are eaten every day. Not bad for a little cream-filled experiment dreamed up for keeping production running during the Great Depression.
1 million a day?
Over 1 million a day. RFK Jr. is like saying, what? We need to investigate this. Twinkies, and it is a myth. They don't last forever. The suggested shelf life is only about 45 days. And I saw a demonstration. Somebody took one that was years old. It looked perfect. They put it beside a brand new one. You couldn't tell the difference until he hit the desktop with it.
Okay. Wow. Well, I have to tell you, they are good.
Oh, gosh, yes.
They're against all the rules, but
they totally are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sponge cake, And I didn't realize they initially put banana cream in it. I thought, what a great time, until World War II, and they were rationing bananas. They couldn't. They switched to vanilla cream, and they stuck with it. So, but I'd like to try the banana cream version.
So if I had to choose between a tomato and a Twinkie.
Okay, yeah, do it.
It would be.
I know, it'd be the Twinkie.
It'd be the Twinkie. All right, good morning to you. It's 16 minutes before the hour. It's due. Have you ever been to Washington, D.C.? If you haven't, you should go. And at the center of everything is the Washington Monument. What's inscribed at the very top on a little piece of silver up there? Here is the answer to that from First Liberty Institute.
Do you know what's inscribed at the top of the Washington Monument? At the very heart of D.C. is the monument to George Washington. When it was finished in 1884, it was the tallest building in the world, just over 555 feet. At the very top of this monument is an aluminum cap, and inscribed in that cap in Latin are the words Laus Deo, which translate, of course, to praise be to God. That means when the first rays of dawn come over the Capitol every morning, the first thing that they touch is praise to God on the top of this monument. Inside the cornerstone, a copy of the Constitution and a Bible. And there are commemorative stones set in the interior walls. From Pennsylvania, a quote from Isaiah, "Holiness to the Lord." From some New York Sunday school children, from Proverbs, "The memory of the just is blessed." From Indiana, "In God we trust." I think George Washington would approve. How do I know that? Well, he wrote a prayer for America in 1783 and sent it to every state governor. It begins, "Almighty God, we make our earnest prayer that thou wilt keep the United States in thy holy protection." He goes on to say, our only hope of being a happy nation is if we all try to be more like the divine author of our blessed religion. This kind of thing could give the separation of church and state people a migraine. And I know you may be thinking, well, Stuart, that's great and everything, but why does it matter in 2026? Well, when Coach Joe Kennedy won his case at the U.S. Supreme Court, they not only granted him the right to take a knee on the 50, they also ended a 50-year-old bad precedent concerning religious expression in public places. The new test relies on American history and tradition, which in a beautifully providential way arrived right on time for America's 250th. And the more you know about the history and tradition of the United States, the more the future of religious freedom looks monumental.
So, will they light up the Washington Monument in red, white, and blue?
Oh, yeah.
For
why not?
250th
Yeah,
birthday?
it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it.
Well, they're saying it's the celebrations are going to start middle of June and work their way up to the 4th of July. So
does that mean we're going to see illegal fireworks thrown up over the valley starting in the middle of June this year?
I don't know. Are we heading into a bad year?
Oh, yeah, I think, this probably could be a big fire season. So
But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, there in Washington, I think you're going to see all kinds. Now, is it true? I heard that they were going to have a formula race through Washington, D.C.?
They were talking
like 2 weeks before.
Yeah, I think it was an IndyCar race.
An IndyCar race.
Yeah, but they call it the Grand Prix or something like that. But I think they are talking. That was one of the president's.
So they're going to race that through.
Apparently.
Okay, like they do in Las Vegas. I guess,
yes.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that's like a couple of weeks before.
Yeah, that would be fun to watch.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here's a guy that will light up in red, white, and blue. When we come back, we'll light him up.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Lizer with Lizer Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
Do events in the world leave you confused and scratching your head? A world where up is down and down is up.
I'm Perry Atkinson. Mornings on the Dove knows how you feel. We're here to offer God's hope and encouragement and to help you to sort it all out.
And I'm Jerry Bilden. Mornings on the Dove alerts you to issues and events the mainstream media would rather you not know or know the truth.
A lot in the news today, some movement around in the Middle East, common sense discussions on today's headlines, and rational perspective on what's really going on.
That will leave you better informed and encouraged by the gospel.
In this upside-down world, there's one place you can trust to get it straight.
Check into Mornings on the Dove each day to find out what's really going on and to be encouraged.
Mornings on the Dove, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on the Dove TV and radio. Streaming online at thedove.us, Roku, and Apple TV. The Dove, encouraging and informative.
Hi, welcome back. 10 minutes before the hour. The other day I had the chance to sit down with Michael Tadlock. Now, who is he? He's a pastor in Portland, Oregon, but he is also the chaplain for the Portland Trailblazers. And quite a guy, really. He's one of those guys that, you know, when you first interview somebody for the first time, you don't know what you're getting. It's like he stuck both fingers in a wall socket. He just went, wow.
Okay, all right.
He's alive and well. Funny, really a fun guy. I hope he comes down sometime. We can have him live in the studio here. Anyway, he speaks and does a lot all over the place. But he was talking about the need for hope in the world today and his message. And here's what he had to say.
Because one of the things that's really exciting that I've learned was, and I go back again just to COVID when things were crazy. And this was in the early, I would say, 3 months of COVID. I got a phone call from a producer that does a post-game sports show for the Blazers, and they talk about games and stats and all that stuff. And he called me up and he said, you're the chaplain. Would you come on our sports show? But don't talk about sports. He says, people need hope right now. They don't know what's going on. They don't know where to turn. The world seems upside down. And I'm, you know, any opportunity to come speak about hope in Christ, I'll jump at that opportunity. So I go on the show. And he teed it up very well. And I just talked about, you've got to put your hope in Christ, not hope in the world, not hope in what the world is offering. Put your hope in Christ. And not only did that program go out and had such a great response, he called me later that day and said, oh my goodness, the viewers want you to come back. Can you come back and do part 2? And so again, I came back the next week and we turned sports radio into an evangelistic opportunity. And I just think that's what we're seeing right now. My good friend Mike Barrett, as we were talking earlier, we started Vertical Pursuit podcast because of that. We wanted to get out there to as many people as possible, a message of hope, discernment in these days. And what we're finding is there's a hunger for that. And so I think we as pastors got to know we have an opportunity right now that people are lost. As Jesus said, they're like sheep without shepherds. And Jesus felt compassion in that moment. But he also said, in the same verse, when he said that sheep are like without shepherds, he said the harvest is ready. So I really believe we're living in a harvest time. And so when we are bold with our message of truth, the gospel, and hope, people are hungry for it.
Well, it's true. And I think just doing some surfing around yesterday and early this morning, we may have seen an all-time church attendance yesterday across the United States.
All right.
And this kind of follows up what we're hearing, this thing called the silent revival. there is a hunger, there is a move for people checking out faith, because the culture, the anxiety of the world, the politics, all of this stuff, the war, you add all this high gas prices, you put it all together, and people are going, you know, who's really got the truth here? Who's really telling us the truth?
Yeah.
So is there a God? Does he love me? Is heaven real? So people are seeking. And so I think what Mike is saying there, he's sensing it as well. By the way, when he does a chapel service for the Blazers, the food vendors show up, the ushers show up, the janitors show up there in the Moda Center when he holds a chapel service. So something's happening, you know, and you'll never see that in the news, but we ought to rejoice. So, anyway, got some great guests coming up. What do you got?
Well, you know, 80 years old is maybe an advanced age to be starting brand new. But some people do it anyway, and here's a great case. At 80 years old, one woman set out on a 2,000-mile journey chasing a fresh start and finding something even more powerful along the way.
Lois Mayo left California with little more than her SUV, her 2 cats, and a dream of a new life in Tennessee. After 5 days on the road, she arrived, but quickly faced a tough reality. With limited money and nowhere to stay, Lois prepared to sleep in her car. Still, she stayed hopeful, saying, "There's angels everywhere." And she was right. A chance meeting at a local Walmart introduced her to Paris Barnes, who stepped in without hesitation. Paris told her, "God is using me to help you." So she helped secure a motel, raising money for her future, and even reconnecting Lois with her son after they lost contact. What started as a simple encounter turned into a life-changing bond. Today, Lois is determined to stay in Tennessee, a place she already calls home. And for Paris, she explained her motivation simply. "I truly believe we are called to serve others. And in this moment, this is what it looks like."
And, you know, it makes you think of the people God has put in your life and the times maybe God has put you in somebody else's life, and that attitude of service is really important.
Well, there's so many opportunities for you to help others. The question is, are you looking for it? It's all around you. You can take 5 minutes and love somebody today through action, through words, through a phone call, through a text, whatever. You know. And people are hungry. I take with you Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 and 23. The steadfast love of God never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. So he's got a whole new set of mercies for you today. Talk to him about it.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
For some people, the single greatest discouraging factor in their life is their perceived lack of forward movement in God. There are many Christians that feel stagnant, and they're generally self-condemned. They don't need the devil to condemn them, they're self-condemned. Let me assure you, my friend, the Lord is not through with you. He is working in you. Philippians 1 and 6 says, being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. He's begun the work. He'll carry it on until the day of Christ's return. He's not going to give up on you. He's not going to cast you aside. Psalm 138 and verse 8 says, the Lord will perfect that which concerns me.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Jerry, did you know that we're farmers?
Farmers? I knew there was a reason I like overalls.
At the Dove, we plant seeds of hope, truth, and the gospel every day.
And when those seeds land in the right hearts, lives change.
But every harvest needs more hands.
That's where you come in.
Today, become a farmer with the Dove. Plant a seed, help it grow.
Your gift reaches someone who needs hope.
Don't wait, join us in this harvest.
Let's grow something eternal together.
Give today at the Dove.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for Bend and Central Oregon. Seen on KBND 14 and these Dove TV affiliates.
All right, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Always delighted we have time to sit down with Michael Letts. He's the founder and the president and CEO of Invest USA. He's also an ordained minister, but he has over 30 years of law enforcement experience under his belt. He's the author of a book entitled Truth, Lies, and Control, Finding Hope in an Upside-Down World. There's a picture of the cover of his book there on the screen. He has a couple of websites, investusa.org, where he helps police agencies, have basic chest protection, bulletproof vests. And he also has his personal website, michaelletts.us. You can check him out there. Brother Michael, good to see you, friend. How are you, buddy?
Always a privilege to be with you, Perry. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're the man. Hey, I want to steer just a little bit in a direction today because in following the war, and I know you're following it like a hawk, like all of us are, I can't help but think that terrorist cells around the world are on high alert, so to speak. And are we, inside the United States, on high alert about these cells?
Yes, we are, Perry. Let me give you the intelligence reports. We have intercepted messages, started with Iran, but also with Hezbollah, putting their terrorist cells in the United States fully activated to try to find whatever kind of destructive forces that they can utilize and to try to create chaos and destruction in the United States. So we are at high alert. We're asking every American to make sure that they're vigilant, make sure you know your surroundings. And let me just give some great advice, if you don't mind, Perry. When you go out into a public area, just be aware, know where the exits are at, know in your back of your mind, because the body will follow what it's already been programmed to do. And so know if something occurs, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Instead of sitting around trying to figure it out when the incident is unfolding. That's the best thing you can do. And also, of course, as we said, be aware of your surroundings. And if something doesn't look right or out of place, tell somebody about it. We have to know, we have to have more eyes than we currently have. One of the things I'm pressing the administration to do is we shouldn't have any sleeper cells that we're aware of in this country to begin with. I think, unfortunately, over time, we have been very passive in not wanting to be offensive and allow those terrorist cells to thrive. And it's time now that we confront them and deal with them accordingly and eliminate them from this country.
Any idea how many we're talking, Michael?
Yes. Here's the sad part about it, Barry. When you and I were on the show years ago, it was 100. It's over 1,000 now.
And what are they equipped with?
Well, here's the interesting part about it. Why did it go from 100 to 1,000?
Yeah.
Because they have learned how to work together. Basically, the criteria, anybody that hates America is part of these terrorist cells. So they've expanded their groups. They used to just simply be terror organizations such as, from ISIS, the Taliban, et cetera. Now it's any organization that hates our country, whether it's transgenderism, leftist liberals, anybody. They've all learned how to work together. Drug cartels, child sex traffickers. And so they have an awful lot of cash because either from the cartels, human sex trafficking, or the organizations, the funding of Soros and others that have been funding these organizations for quite some time. And so the cash is there. They've been able to buy weapons. A lot of the weapons that we sent to Ukraine never got there. They went on the black market and they were purchased by cartels, and they've been smuggled into this country. Drones. This is a very sophisticated network, Barry. That's the concerning part. It's no longer just a matter of them putting some gas and a cloth in a Coke bottle and throwing lightning and throwing it somewhere. They're very sophisticated now. So because of that fact, they're very well armed and they're very well organized. And it's time that we dedicate all the resources necessary to eradicating that from our country.
So, our local agencies, clear down, say, to the local county sheriff, are they on high alert on these things?
Everyone is on high alert, Perry, but here's where the difficulty becomes. They don't have the kind of intel or access to the intel reports that they need to. They're working with the federal government as well. And, I hate to say it, Perry, but there's always been a little bit of rough feelings between the feds and locals. A lot of times they don't get along very well. They're competitive, and they don't cooperate the way they need to. That's got to stop. This is the safety of the American people is your first and foremost objective. I don't really care whether you like somebody or don't. Let's make sure the American people are safe.
All right, good stuff. I want to switch your attention to former Attorney General Pam Bundy. From your perspective, Michael, what happened there?
A number of things happened. First of all, we couldn't seem to hold people accountable. We've talked about it a number of times on your show, Perry. There are so many nefarious activities going on. We have the evidence, but we haven't gotten indictments and convictions. And the president got pretty upset, kind of like, we've talked about it long enough. I need action. And we've been saying that for some time. But then when it became apparent that the Department of Justice has been perhaps assisting in some of those who are doing nefarious activities, helping to postpone cases, kicking the can down the street, shall we say, the president says enough's enough. I've got to have action. The American people demand it. We've been saying this on your show for quite some time. Accountability is what American people want. You're going to start seeing that now, I believe, in the very near future.
Did the Epstein case also muddy the waters in her ability to get everything done?
No question. The Epstein case was kind of the tip of the iceberg, shall we say. It showed the dilemma because the Epstein case is just one small fraction of what's going on. But what it showed very clearly, Perry, is that people with influence have the ability, I don't want to say they're escaping justice, but they certainly had the ability to move justice down the timeline. And that's not equal justice for all. The Constitution requires equal justice for all, not a two-tier justice system. The American people have become convinced that there is a two-tier justice system. You have enough power and influence. You're not held to the same standard. And unfortunately, Perry, they're right. I mean, this president is determined to eradicate that, and he was not getting the kind of timetables or cooperations that he felt like were appropriate, and so some changes have been made.
Were Bondi and Patel, are they just overwhelmed with the job, overwhelmed with so much corruption?
I think that's part of it, Perry. Obviously, when you take a look at the size of these organizations, the Bureau, 33,000 employees, the Department of Justice is very similar. And you just make a change at the top, how do you know out of all those people who's with you and who's not? And so it takes time to begin to sort through and to begin to filter through. But the other key element to this, Perry, and it's just hard to find people like this nowadays, is how politics gets involved. You have people that, I've known you for a while, you're a friend of mine, you should have did what you did. No, I'm not going to overlook it, but I'll put you at the back of the list. We'll see what we can, we'll postpone until it. You can't afford that in these positions. Nobody can be given preferential treatment. I don't care how close of a friend, whether they've done you favors, whether you vacation together, is irrelevant. And if you can't have that perspective, you don't belong in doing that job. And it's hard to find people, quite frankly, Perry. I mean, I think American people don't agree, but they can understand. You've got to stand up and do what's right. You have to be principled, period. And sometimes that's hard to do.
Do you think the acting Attorney General now, the Assistant Attorney General, two questions here. Can he get things done in this temporary position? And is he a serious candidate for the job?
Very easy to answer that, Perry. Can he get things done? Now, let me reverse the question. If he doesn't get things done, he won't be a very serious candidate for that position. You know, Todd's got some baggage coming in. You say, what would you mean by that? Having been under the former administration, the question automatically becomes, why couldn't more get done? Is it because your hands are tied or because you're part of the problem? He's going to have to address that and show. People are not going to take your word for it anymore. He's going to either have to demonstrate his backbone, his mettle, shall we say, and show and deliver evidence that there are convictions or indictments along the way that we're moving things forward to hold people accountable, or he won't be highly considered.
Do you have somebody else that you'd like to see in that job?
There's quite a few good people out there. Our U.S. attorney in D.C., Judge Janine, is very capable. Sidney Powell's very capable. I mean, we could go through the list. There's a lot of people that are very aggressive. And here's what we have to have, as we talked about a minute ago, Perry. I need you to be principled above all.
Right.
That you will pursue justice regardless of friendships, regardless of the circumstances. You'll stand on principle and you'll aggressively pursue it. If that's not your makeup, if that's not what you're comfortable with, then you don't need to be considered for the job.
Well said. All right. Where are we with DHS, the shutdown, and where is ICE? Do they still have authority in sanctuary cities? Can they still do the job? What's your 30,000-foot view of this mess?
Great question, Perry. Great question. Let's peel back that onion. We do have funding in the big, beautiful bill to begin with. So ICE was not at jeopardy. They just couldn't fulfill everything they wanted to do. We're a step beyond that. For there not to be any funding given for DHS really affects TSA, Border Patrol, Coast Guard, other things more readily than it does ICE, which is tragic for the United States, especially since we talked about at the beginning of this show, the sleeper cells. We need to make sure our Homeland Security is at full force and fully able to combat any of these kind of influences that are out there. So it's a shame that Congress can't do their job. I think that's the frustrating thing is we have a Congress that's inept. Let's just be very blunt. They can't seem to get it done this time. They couldn't get it done before when all the air traffic controllers had to be, or many of them quit because they weren't being paid. If Congress can't do the job they're elected to do, and that's to keep the government running, then we need to clean house and start over again. But based on what you were mentioning, DHS needs to be funded, fully funded, to pull this together. And I'm tired. I think American people are tired of playing politics with our security.
People are being interviewed in general about this shutdown. What's interesting to me is Congress is being blamed, not just the Democrats, Congress as a whole.
No, I agree.
In that, what do you do with that?
Well, it exposes a problem that we've talked about on your show before, Perry. Yes, the Democrats are leading the issue, but you can't tell me, because I can show you the evidence. We have enough. If all of our Republicans were principled, we could overcome that in a minute. We could eliminate the filibuster. There are so many things we could do, but you don't see that happening. And the question becomes why? And this is something we've talked about on the show before. We have such nefarious activities. People are greedy. We have such programs that are stealing from the Treasury, and many of those dollars are going back to members of Congress. They don't want to upset the apple cart. It's not just going back to Democratic members. There are many Republicans participating in these nefarious activities. They don't want to see the system changed. And so what happens is they give you lip service. Because they believe that they're elected by conservatives, they give the conservatives what they want to hear. But at the end of the day, when action comes up to be taken to correct it, they're nowhere to be found.
Kash Patel announced over the weekend that he's increasing fraud investigation in a huge way, and he's not only going after the issue of fraud in agencies, but elected officials. That should cause people to be a little nervous, don't you think?
Well, there's no question. We know for a fact, Perry, there is quite a long list. In fact, that were some of the things that Pam had started to work on that we had to transfer over to DNI to Tulsi to try to continue to keep it moving forward. President Madera has said that he has a list of over 60 current members of the U.S. Senate that he has been giving paying contributions to and money in the past when he was the president of Venezuela to watch out for Venezuelan interests. Now, you can't just take him at his word. We have to vet all this. We have to show the evidence and show the accounts, the offshore accounts, and where the money went, et cetera. But if he's even a fraction right, there's plenty of things, nefarious people that are walking the hallways of Congress that had better start looking over their shoulder because we're coming after them.
All right, good stuff. Michael, you're inspiring. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out, by the way, tell people what Invest USA does.
We make sure that all of our officers have active shooter vests. Currently, 90% do not. Perry, when you see a story, there's an active shooter somewhere, that means you've got all these officers rushing in to contain the situation, to eliminate the threat, knowing they're at a disadvantage. If they get shot at, that little concealable vest they're wearing underneath their shirt, it's going to go right through it. They're dead on arrival. So let's make sure that our officers can protect us as we've charged them to do. Let's get behind them. Tell them thank you for your service. And if you can, make a donation to make sure they have an active shooter vest so they can come home safely to their children at the end of the shift.
All right, that's called investusa.org. There's a picture of that landing page, investusa.org. And Michael's personal website is michaelletts.us. Good to see you, brother. Stay in the fight. We love you.
Love you too, Greg. God bless. God bless America. Hope is on the way.
Amen.
Today, become a farmer with the Dove. Plant a seed, help it grow.
Your gift reaches someone who needs hope.
Don't wait, join us in this harvest.
Let's grow something eternal together.
Give today at the Dove.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why McKelly's is automotive service with a heart for God and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond. But that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
All right, welcome back. You know, there's a topic that's kind of popping up lately with all the other fears that are out there. This is certainly a genuine concern, and that is the quality of our drinking water. I'm talking to David Roberts today. He's the founder of Mara Labs. He's a public health expert with more than 20 years of expertise across 3 continents. His personal health journey led him to develop Brock Elite, which is a supplement designed to help support detoxification and cellular resilience in some of our drinking water. MARA-labs.com is the website, and there's a picture of that. David, good to see you. How are you?
Hey, Perry. I'm doing great on this Easter Monday. How are you?
All right, good to see you. Yeah, happy Monday to you. So, 30,000-foot view, how safe is our drinking water in the United States?
In comparison to the rest of the world, it's extremely safe. But if you look at the water itself. Even in my city water, it's for city water, it's exceptionally clean, but there are about 200 parts per million of just particulates floating around. There's pharmaceuticals, there's microplastics, and over the course of a lifetime, that can add up. So it's safe, but it could be safer. I'd much rather drink from a well.
Okay, so how does that work? I mean, does each city has their own treatment plant, right? I mean, and it's being regulated, right?
Yeah, the drinking water, by and large, is that you're not going to get sick from drinking the water as far as getting a parasite like you would if you drank water from Africa, or a virus. And so it's safe in that way. But it has fluoride, which is a neurotoxin. It has pharmaceuticals, which you don't necessarily want to be taking involuntarily. It has pesticides. It has herbicides. And so it's impossible to get that out completely. It's just not, it can't happen. And so over the course of days, months, years, those exposures can add up.
So tell us about your journey to work on this.
Yeah, so I went to Johns Hopkins, studied environmental public health, and was struck, right after public health school. There was a study that came out of France about a flame retardant in women's breast milk. And that just came from basically flame retardant being on furniture. And so, absorbing through our skin. And so that was sort of an eye-opening. Later, my wife, Mara, got breast cancer. And so we really did a big push to decrease toxins in our household so she could heal. And that was eye-opening as well, like toxins all over the place. But part of that was drinking water, part of it was air. A lot of pollution comes from indoor air. So we got a HEPA filter, we got a reverse osmosis filter. And that's also how, over the course of years, that we ended up growing her cells in our lab, and her cancer cells, and putting a bunch of different supplements and pharmaceuticals on them to see what killed her type of cancer. And broccoli, the good molecule from broccoli, called sulforaphane, was number 3 in directly killing her type of cancer. And that's how the company, Mara Labs, was formed. She passed away in 2017, and we formed the company shortly after that.
Sorry to hear that. So a couple more questions, and that is, how do these things get in there? How do these things get into the water?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Perry. So basically, with pharmaceuticals, we are ingesting pharmaceuticals, right? And then there's waste that comes out from us, goes down the toilets. That water gets recycled into these waste treatment plants. But we also eat, in our food system, animals that have hormones, that have antibiotics. That's how some of those get in there as well. But there's also runoff. So from fields that are sprayed with things like glyphosate or pesticides. And so those can also lead to getting in the water system. And so it's just, and then from rainwater too. I mean, there are examples of desert, portions of the desert in Utah having, layers of microplastic, layers of toxins on them. And that's just from precipitation. And so it all adds up.
Does the EPA get involved in this, or will they, or have they?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the EPA has to be involved in the drinking water conversation. It depends on the administration, right? But by and large, things like pharmaceuticals that come through waste, it's not something that the EPA tends to regulate. And it's, again, the municipalities by and large are doing a decent job, but it's a tall order, right? And it's a big deal to provide water for an entire population. And so, but there are things that we can do as individuals, as families, to clean that water further. And things like reverse osmosis filters are important. and that we have one in our house. We have them at work. I tell people it's important for you to actually further clean your water, and so there are ways to actually take ownership of that yourself.
So, when you developed Mara Labs and you went after this, and you developed, what is it, a supplement? You add the water. How does that work?
Yeah. So basically, yeah, it was a supplement. So once we figured out that the good molecule from broccoli was number 3 in killing my wife's cancer, I went out to try buy it, but I couldn't find it because it didn't exist. That molecule is not stable, and so if you try to harness it, put it in a capsule, it degrades quickly. And but if you have a head of broccoli and you start chewing it, there is the molecule that comes before sulforaphane called glucoraphanin, which basically is stable. You start chewing the broccoli, you release an enzyme that converts the glucoraphanin into sulforaphane. You swallow it, you get the benefit. But if you try to harness it, you actually, like I said, it degrades. And so what we did was basically we ended up stabilizing it. And so we are one of 2 companies that have a stable form of the molecule. All the rest of the broccoli supplements on the market are the precursor form. But basically, that's important because 2 of our capsules is the equivalent of 5 pounds of mature broccoli. And so it's a concentrate. And it was discovered up at Johns Hopkins University in 1992. And there's over 2,000 research papers on it. There's 35 pro-health mechanisms. But like you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, detoxification, so it can get metals out, and get a lot of toxins out of your body. And then it's great for brain health, so it preserves neurons and helps create existing neurons, and new neurons rather. And then it also is great at inflammation. So that's one of the things we hear most is people with aches and pains. Try it. It's known to reduce pro-inflammatory markers 30% in 24 hours. So, in this, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say, how is it applied? How is it applied?
Yes, to our conversation about water. I mean, a lot of what's going on is we're ingesting toxins, right? And so the detox portion of it is important, but also with microplastics. Last summer, a researcher out of the Midwest took our form of sulforaphane and showed that it actually, mobilizes microplastics for excretion. So microplastics, they're microscopic sized pieces of plastic that we ingest through what we eat, what we drink. It actually gets absorbed through your skin. And actually, most of it, over 50%, comes through the air we breathe. And so, really trying to mitigate that. There's a whole Netflix documentary that came out 2 weeks ago talking about how do you decrease the amount of microplastics in your environment. It's really good, recommended. But basically, not eating things microwaved in plastic, like food, not drinking out of plastic water bottles. They're really small things. Getting a HEPA filter in the room you sleep in. They're really small things you can do that make a big impact, but that doesn't get rid of the microplastics inside of you. So once they're inside of you, they get cordoned off with these sacs called lysosomes, which are the digestive centers of the cell. And so basically, but our bodies weren't designed to digest microplastics, so they just get stuck there. It's like a sink that gets filled up and up to overflowing. So what this researcher showed was that sulforaphane, our form of broccoli, actually dissolves those lysosomes, releases the microplastics so that they can then get taken up and excreted. And so it was really exciting to hear about that. And with this new news, RFK Jr. a couple of days ago came out with a push against microplastics announcement, and so I feel like it's important. It's an important subject. It's an important topic that's getting some traction. It's important because the microplastics are actually porous and can get lots of toxins that get absorbed into them. And so if they get stuck under your body, Perry, they just start secreting these toxins like BPA, which is an estrogen mimicking compound that can mess up our hormones. It's probably why girls are going into puberty earlier. It's why boys are going to puberty later. It's what causes a lot of the infertility that we're hearing about. So yeah, it's an important topic.
All right. I was going to ask you if RFK likes what you're doing.
Well, I'm not sure he would if he knew me. He'd love me, actually. But we have not yet met. But yeah, we actually know a lot of the people in the Maha movement, and yeah, it's the topics there are important,
okay.
And the whole idea of decreasing the amount of toxic burden that we're getting exposed to through clean food, through clean water. That's a lot of what Maha is about.
All right, so you can go to Mara Labs, MARA-labs.com. There's a picture of the landing page and learn more about this. Take advantage.
Yeah, we actually have a special going on right now. We have an unconditional 100-day money-back guarantee, 28% off. If you just want to try it, go to marla-labs.com/plastic. Yeah. And we actually have a microplastic detox bundle we're offering with a resveratrol product as well that really gets the microplastics, helps get the microplastics out.
All right. Mara Labs, mara-labs.com. Thanks, David. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Perry. Good to see you.
We're in a very holy time of the year. We think in terms of a deliverance.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time. This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
This Passover, if you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials and matzah for the Passover holy day. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now.
Okay, welcome back, and we do welcome back Dr. Kazim Khosrounian. He's with us back today. Always an honor to have him. He's a professor of mechanical engineering at the University of Connecticut and the former dean of the College of Engineering, an expert in robotics and complex systems, and he has also written and spoken extensively on Iran, the Middle East, and the issues of democracy and human rights. He's authored over 160 scholarly works and co-founded the academickeys.com and academicjournal.com, a professional platform and online journal for academics. And you can go there and check all that out. Doctor, good to see you again. How are you, friend?
Good morning. It's wonderful to be back. It's honor is all mine.
Well, thank you for your time. Wow. Where do we start? What's your take on Iran today? How damaged is it?
So I understand that President Trump has a media conference in a couple of hours. I look forward to hear what is the latest progress. But as far as I know, Iran has rejected the latest peace proposal or ceasefire proposal and has come back with a 10-point maximalist set of requests. And this is actually not unusual, and I was expecting that because, again, I have repeatedly mentioned that this war, the war between Israel and United States on one side and Iran on the other side, cannot be won unless there are boots on the ground, and the boots on the ground cannot be Israelis because I don't believe that they have that. And I don't believe that the United States has the appetite to put boots on the ground at the scale that is needed, about 5 times the scale of Iraq war, to win this war. So we are really at a very, very complex situation.
Who's running the country?
So this is interesting, and this is a question that I'm asked very often. We know that the top echelon of the pyramid is gone, and thank God for that. These are some of the most barbaric, horrible people on earth. But then beyond that, I believe that IRGC, the Revolutionary Guards in Iran, have a relatively flat structure that is spread all over the country, and it is. I don't think that from this point on, it's that critical to take individuals out and leave a dent in the leadership structure of the country. So in short, I believe that the control is with the Revolutionary Guards, and they are calling the shots, but it's not one person. It is a distributed leadership.
What's left? Can they be trusted for a ceasefire?
Absolutely not. This regime could have never been trusted, and I think that many administrations in the United States and in Europe have made the mistake of trusting them and hoping that some sort of moderation will come out of them. So the policy of appeasement has been a major failure. At the same time, I don't think that continuation of the war is the path to go. I'll tell you one thing. This regime, far more than bombs, Israeli bombs, American bombs, is afraid of recognition of their organized opposition by the West. In their Friday prayers or elsewhere as an official slogan, there's this famous sentence that they keep repeating, and you hear it everywhere in Iran, and that is death to United States, death to America, actually, death to Israel, and death to Mujahideen, or MEK, which is their organized resistance against them. This is an organized resistance that is actually de facto boots on the ground. That is the Iranian organic resistance. It is led by Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. It is led by the top echelon of the organization, National Council of Resistance of Iran, is all women. And they are the organization, they are the resistance that this regime is afraid of. And I believe that that is the only path forward. There is this facade, there is this smoke screen that is around that son of the old Shah might be an alternative. And this is basically the fallacy of it is comparable to the fallacy of some sort of moderate will come out of Iran, and remember Khatami and remember Rouhani and all those people that we are hoping that would bring some sort of moderation to this regime. Those cannot be the solutions. I think that West needs to see this clearly. That's the ultimate solution. That is the only solution. Outside that, I do not see any good end to this.
We have a hard time wrapping our head around the fact that they've killed over between 30 and 45,000 of their own citizens. It's hard for us to even process that, but is that true? Are those numbers accurate?
So this is a number, whatever the accurate number is, I do not know what the exact, it's definitely in many thousands. And this is not the first time that the Iranian regime is barbarically suppresses the uprising. There was an uprising 3 years ago, which was known as Massa Amini's uprising. There was another one in 98. There was another one in 96, and many uprisings. Every generation have seen 3 or 4 uprisings during their generation. This regime so far has executed, not killed on the streets, but executed more than 120,000 people over the last 4 decades, and all of them political opposition members, many of them members of the NCRI and MEK. And they continue to do that. They have been bombarding the ethnicities, whether it is in Kurdistan or Baluchistan or Azerbaijan. So this regime is as bad as it comes. They're horrible, they're barbaric, they have to be removed. But again, we need to be very smart about how do we remove them and what the possibilities are. I keep repeating, but bombs from air destroys the country, puts people under a lot of pressure. But then it also has other impacts. It sends people back to their homes instead of uprising in the streets, which is an unfortunate outcome of the war. And we can bombard the hell out of this regime for the next 100 years, and we cannot call them toppled because they survive. They survive underground. They survive in the tunnels that they dig, and they continue to build bases and headquarters, clandestine, nevertheless, but they will continue to build it. And there's nothing we can do about it unless we have boots on the ground. And I hope that the United States does not decide to send boots on the ground, because it cannot be done with 5 or 10 or 20,000 people. Again, remember the Iraq War. We had, I don't know the exact number, but definitely hundreds of thousands of soldiers there. And Iraq is about 1/5 of the country in size, and in size of the army, a less fraction of it.
In the meantime, we have struck over 12,000 of their military sites. That's no small number. They have been hit hard, and yet there's still an existence left. We cannot afford to leave the regime intact. So what I'm hearing from you is that they have the mentality of a death cult, so they're going to stay in it until they die. But we can't complete the job unless there's boots on the ground, and we don't have the appetite for that. So the outcome of this is what?
So again, the outcome I hope for is for the West to recognize that there is an organized resistance on the ground, recognize their right to resist, recognize them politically. They are not asking for money, they're not asking for arms, and all they're asking is for recognition, a very clear, loud recognition. That is what the regime is most afraid of. And I think that we need to listen to the regime itself. I repeated their slogans a few minutes ago. They are addressing who their major enemy is, and we need to listen to that, and we need to take cues from that. Other than that, you mentioned that we have been bombarding them for the past 37 days. We have dropped about 19,000 bombs, as far as I know or heard yesterday. And yet they have survived. Their goal is to expand the war. And actually, from their demands, we do not detect any weakness. Actually, it seems that they're further emboldened in their demands and in what they're asking from as conditions for ceasefire. I know it sounds crazy. It does to me. But nevertheless, they are there. They continue. They have their missiles. It doesn't seem that the rate of firing missiles have gone down. And at some point, they will deplete all of their armory. But at the same time, they are digging their heels. They are looking for. They are they know that in a ground war with United States, they can actually have an upper hand, and they are trying to lure the United States into that ground war. I certainly hope that the West, United States, and Israel does not fall for that trap.
All right, let me take a quick break. Really an honor to have back with us Dr. Khosrounian. He has a couple of websites, and you can check them out, academickeys.com or academicjournal.com, a couple of the websites there. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house. We chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old-world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us, and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
Once again, our very own Dove TV was recognized for excellence by the National Religious Broadcasters with the prestigious Station of the Year Award for 2026.
And this year's recipient of TV Station of the Year Award is Dove TV.
This makes 9 times the Dove has been honored by our peers with this celebrated national award. We're grateful, and another reason to stay encouraged and informed by watching and supporting the Dove TV.
All right, welcome back. An honor to have with us Dr. Khosrounian back with us today. He's a professor there at the University of Connecticut and a real expert on Middle East and Iran. We're talking about that. A couple of websites you may want to check out, academickeys.com or academicjournal.com. A couple of places where you can connect with him. This is so interesting. Let me ask you this. What, from your perspective, is the role of Russia and China today in Iran?
A very opportunistic role, actually. They in particular, China is actually taking a very long look at this, and they are planning their own future in Middle East, and every opportunity is actually opening up with them. We need to really be smart about it. They're getting ready to start rebuilding Iran. They are already talking about contracts. They are already talking about helping Iran transfer the oil. So both of them are very opportunistic. And actually, in many ways, in the big picture, maybe United States is at war with China and Russia more than they're at war with Iran.
Wow. Okay, so well, let me ask you this. What's your viewpoint now on the pressure to open up the Straits of Hormuz?
The Strait of Hormuz is actually one of the cards that the regime holds, and it is difficult to remove that card from them, because even if the United States Navy can take over the strait, they cannot forever protect it. Iran has these small submarines that built by Iran, and they can freely, they are at the size and maneuverability, they can sail that part of the Gulf, and very difficult to control them. So it is a card that is using, and I don't believe that it's easy to remove it from them. And at the same time, now before the war, the strait was open. So again, even if we open it right now, and Iran doesn't necessarily mind opening it as part of a broader promise of security for Iran, I think that in the big picture, West has lost.
Okay, so I think most people, Doctor, would agree that we don't want boots on the ground. What's left? What do you do? We're in a war, and you don't cut and run and not win. What do you do?
So again, I have offered the solution. The solution is to take a very hard look at the organic resistance inside Iran. And then there are the ethnicities in Kurdistan and Balochistan, in Lorestan, partly in Azerbaijan, partly in southern Iran. And a broad coalition, as formal or informal that it might be, the broad coalition of the National Council of Resistance of Iran with these ethnical nationalities inside Iran is the final solution. And there is simply no other workable solution. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we can bring a victorious end to this war.
Part of this war was to aid the citizens to take the country back. Even where we are today in this war, are you saying that's an impossibility?
The war itself, there are two obvious impacts to the war. Yes, there is an element of weakening the Revolutionary Guards. IRGC is definitely weaker now than they were 40 days ago, no denying that. But there are two other factors that, in my belief, are more important. One is that the war has sent people back to their homes. And as long as the war continues, people will not come out. And then the second thing is that there is a strong sense of nationalism that is gaining a strength inside Iran, especially since last 2 weeks that the West and Israel the United States and Israel have started bombarding some of the infrastructures, some of the universities. There are probably about 30 universities that have been hit right now, and there might be justifiable reasons as the connections with army, with national and with Revolutionary Guards or army, but like every other university in the world. But one direct impact of that is a sense of nationalism that is gaining momentum inside Iran.
Yes, excuse me. The president has given the Guard about 48 hours to open the strait, or he's going for infrastructure, electric plants and bridges. That would impact citizens as well. Is that a good thing?
That's really not a good thing, because not only it does not achieve any military objectives, it strengthened the Iranian regime among its own people. People actually hate the Iranian regime, but this would be one reason that for now, at least temporarily, people would be behind this regime. But the second reason that this is not a good reason, this is not, because if the United States uses that card and destroys the infrastructures, what else? What comes after it? Because that strategy needs to be thought out.
Right.
You can't just work it out day by day and just up the ante by the day and hope that this works. This will never work. Iranian regime will never surrender because they don't have any place to go. Listen, these are people that are hated by their own people. They're hated. They don't have any other place in the world to seek asylum.
Right.
They don't have any place to go. And if by any chance people gain momentum and people win, then every one of them, if they are not killed by people, they will end up in prison. So the Iranian regime need to be totally destroyed in order for them to be called ended. And that destruction does not come from bombardments, especially bombardment of the infrastructures. So no, that would not be a wise thing to do. And I certainly hope that both the United States, both President Trump and the Iranians find an off-ramp to get away from destruction of the infrastructures. But at the same time, I certainly hope, and I beg President Trump to be a bit more strategic about what are other ways of toppling this regime.
Okay. Part of denuking Iran is the leftover enriched uranium, and the United States would sure like to get their hands on that. Do you think that's a possibility?
Given the might of the United States Army, I definitely think it is a possibility. I think the operation that we saw yesterday in central part of Iran, central and then southwestern part of Iran, and I don't have any confirmation of it, so please take it with a grain of salt. It is only what I think. I think that might have been, it was a major operation, although it was material for Hollywood to make movies on this. I'm talking about saving the pilot, American pilot. But the operation and the type of aircrafts that were used in that seem to actually have broader goals. And my guess is that one of the goals might have been to locate the enriched uranium or even might have been the first step in accessing it.
I got about a minute left. Do you think at the end of the day, the people will be able to take their country back in Iran?
I have no doubt that eventually Iran would be freed and would have a democratic, secular republic as a government. Iranian people have been fighting for 120 years for this. Their political views are matured, and they are resilient in this goal, and I believe that they can achieve it. But what the path immediately in front of us is, and how hard would it be, I don't know. I can't guess.
Okay. Dr. Khosrowshahian, you're fascinating. Let's stay connected. Let me say to our viewers and listeners a couple of places you can connect with him, academickeys.com and academicjournal.com. And that's where you can connect with him. And, of course, the Free Iran Scholars Network basically was what that's all about. Well, we'll see how it goes. The next 24 hours ought to be pretty significant. And then I think coming up in about an hour from now, the president's going to speak. So we'll see what he has to say. So maybe we can talk on the other side of that in a couple of days.
Absolutely. I look forward to the two presidents' speech and look forward to be reconnected.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, friend.
Thank you. You too.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the